the Almighty Pokémon Master. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 176, heading to Yangcheng. After Zhang Xingyun returned home, he sat in the study and made plans. He didn't know which quasi-god he would get, but as long as it was a quasi-god, he believed it would be very good. Although he already had a Yunkarus, he could still afford to raise one more quasi-god elf. Boom. There was a noise outside, and Zhang Xingyun got up and went out to see. It turned out to be the giant mantis. The giant mantis had been with Zhang Xingyun for a long time, and they became familiar with each other. Recently, they had also trained a few times. After arriving at the training ground, Zhang Xingyun found the heavy magnetic sand scattered all over the ground. This was put in a special sandbag for some training. What's wrong? Did something happen? Hassan, it's okay, it's just a sandbag. It's rare that you are interested in training this. Hassan, the one that Electabuzz wears on his arm, is a very special training prop. It can help him feel his boxing energy more clearly, grasp the right degree, and not waste energy. Hassan, it turned out that when Mantis saw Electabuzz training the strength of boxing, he also became interested, so he came here to train boxing. He was also very interested in what Electabuzz was training. Every time he fought and performed a move, he was not very satisfied. For example, he could defeat it with 70% strength, but he used 100%. So when he saw Electabuzz training, he also came to train, but it seemed that he used too much strength all of a sudden and broke the sandbag apart. You are in the late elite stage. You will definitely not be able to bear this. Let me get some tools to assist you in training. Zhang Xingyun exchanged a set of boxing training items from the system. One set was specially selected for Mantis. How long has the giant claw mantis protected him? Now that it wants to train, he is not a stingy person, so he will naturally help it. After putting props on the giant claw mantis, he also arranged the sandbags. Bang, bang, bang. The giant claw mantis started training, but Zhang Xingyun thought that it still didn't know the key. Although the giant claw mantis is a late elite elf with good qualifications, it has only seen the training of the electric beast, and it can't understand the key points for a while. Giant claw mantis, you are not right to fight like this. Look at the props on your arm. Start with the value 1, and then slowly raise it, from small to large. Zhang Xingyun reminded it. The giant claw mantis may be used to the big and big attacks. When it started, the props on its arm recorded 90. Hassan, the giant claw mantis, stopped training and turned to ask Zhang Xingyun how to perform. Mantis knew that some of it was not important, so he asked Zhang Xingyun. He knew that the ability of a trainer was to let the Pokémon get the right training. From what he had seen during this period of time, Zhang Xingyun was also an excellent trainer. Many of the important training points were also very useful to him at the late stage of the elite. That's why he asked Zhang Xingyun. My suggestion is to start from scratch. Don't use force first. Raise your hands. I will help you set the value of the props on your arms. Let these props take you to experience it. You can feel it carefully. Hassan, faced with Mantis's inquiry, Zhang Xingyun naturally responded. Mantis, with a light green qualification, was still okay. After Zhang Xingyun's advice, he slowly understood the key points. Hassan, well, you continue to train. If you want to train others, you can also tell me. I will provide some auxiliary tools and some suggestions. You have been with me for so long, and you also know some of my training methods, which can still help you. Hassan, the reason why humans can be trainers of Pokémon is not only to provide resources for their growth, but also to guide Pokémon. Humans are extremely flexible in thinking, and have many wonderful ideas, which are very beneficial to the growth of Pokémon, so Pokémon will follow excellent trainers. Zhang Xingyun is usually very studious, and has the help of the system, so it is still possible to guide Mantis, even if it is a Pokémon in the late elite stage. After guiding Mantis, Zhang Xingyun heard Electabuzz calling him, so he rushed over and guided Electabuzz. Mantis Buzz looked at Zhang Xingyun, who was guiding Electabuzz, and stood there quietly, thinking. Soon, it was a day to go to Guangzhou. Zhang Xingyun arrived at Changning Airport at 7:30 that day and found a place to sit. He also asked Wang Yu for a few days off. Zhang Xingyun was a professional at taking leave. He took a lot of leave this semester, but his grades were excellent in both theoretical and practical courses. Zhang Xingyun heard his cell phone ringing and picked it up. "Hello. I'm at the airport. Where are you?" "I'm in the waiting room, in area D." "Okay." Soon Nangang Yeo arrived and sat next to Zhang Xingyun. "Have you eaten?" Zhang Xingyun asked. "Yeah, I just ate a little." "That's good. By the way, I want to ask, after I get there, do I go directly to the elf breeding house to pick it up?" "You have to register at the office of the elf center first and hand in your certificate. Then after the review is done there, you can go directly to the breeding house with your ID card to pick it up." "Okay." What Nangang Yeo said was similar to what Zhang Xingyun knew, and he asked this just to confirm it. After the two chatted for a while, the announcement sounded on the radio. After checking the tickets, they got on the plane. Soon the plane took off. Looking down from the plane, the high-rise buildings that we usually see have become miniature children's building blocks, and the vast Yangtze forest has also become a green ocean with a few grey-brown areas. Cry puff after a burst of noise outside. It became quiet, and the plane was still flying. The plane is equipped with powerful trainers to ensure the safety of the flight. The noise just now may be that there are elves attacking. The plane is carrying not only people, but also some cargo, so all the equipment is very complete. Zhang Xingyun looked down from the window and saw a lot of flying elves, including a lot of rare flying elves, but they didn't dare to come up. It seems that the deterrent power of the guards on the plane is still there. In addition to flying elves, I also saw a lot of scenery that I couldn't see at ordinary times. I can see it on the internet, but this is still a little different from experiencing it in person. "Have you never been on a plane?" Nangang Yeo looked at Zhang Xingyun and asked. "Well, I haven't done it." Zhang Xingyun replied, "There is nothing to say. Then you watch it a few more times, and slowly you will get bored of it. I was like you when I took a plane for the first time, but I got bored after a few more times. Haha, then I should watch it more now, while I'm not bored of it." Zhang Xingyun said with a smile. Chapter 177 Hard-Scale Treasure and Baby Dragon. Yangcheng was the most prosperous city before the elves came. After the elves came, it became even more prosperous, but the weather was a little hot. When Zhang Xingyun flew over Yangcheng, he looked down from the plane and saw that the crowd was so dense that it looked like countless ants moving. There were countless tall buildings here, far more than Changning. From here, we can see the heritage of Yangcheng. So what kind of style should the trainers cultivated in this environment have? After getting off the plane, Zhang Xingyun and Nangang Yeo went to the Pokémon Center in Yangcheng. In terms of scale and style, the Pokémon Center in Yangcheng is far from comparable to the Pokémon Center in Changning. There are a lot of people handling affairs in the Pokémon Center in Yangcheng, unlike Changning, which is idle. "Let's go, I'll take you to handle it." "But there are too many people here." Zhang Xingyun looked at the entire venue, which was crowded with people. "If you have to queue up, it will probably take a long time. Let's go. There is a special passage here. We also meet this special condition, so there is no need to queue up like them. Take out your direct ID card and go to the office. Someone will come to handle it naturally." After explaining, Nangang Yeo took Zhang Xingyun into the elevator and then turned left and right and came to a room. After entering, a well-dressed female staff member came to ask questions. After looking at the two people's certificates, she registered on the computer and took them to a room with high-end decoration. Soon a young man in a suit came to entertain the two. Knowing that the two were the winners of the Rookie Cup and came to receive the elves, knowing that Zhang Xingyun was here to receive the quasi-god elf, he asked the two to wait for a while and walked out. "Hey, this is another certificate given by Teacher Zhao. You will use it later. It should be quite useful." Nangang Yeo took out a certificate with the three words Zhao Yuanqian signed on the paper. "Isn't one enough? I've already gone to find Chief Investigator Ling. My stupid deskmate, this is just one, but having one more is also good. Take it. This is what the teacher gave me yesterday. He said he was supporting our Changning champion. Don't let you lose too much. Thanks Senior Zhao for me. Zhang Xingyun took it. He didn't expect Zhao Yuanqian to also give him a certificate. Yeah, by the way, print out some of your professional certificates. The more you prove that you are excellent, the greater your chance of getting a quasi-god. You are now a person with special abilities. Although you have added a lot of points, it would be better to have other ones. Yes, I printed out all the ones I can use. As he was talking, the door of the room opened, and a middle-aged man in a suit walked in from outside. The uncle was a little fat, with a warm smile on his face, and he looked very friendly at first glance. Sorry to have kept you waiting. Xiaoli said that there is a trainer who wants to receive the quasi-god. Is it you, Mr. Zhang? It's me. My last name is Zhao. You can call me Manager Zhao. I'm the person in charge of this business. Now we can discuss the quasi-god matter. Then, as usual, he asked Zhang Xingyun a few questions and verified his iris and fingerprints. He then carefully observed the proof submitted by Zhang Xingyun. During this time, he stopped a few times and made a few phone calls. The original staff member, Xiaoli, was also assisting by operating a computer. After working for a while, Manager Zhao said, Mr. Zhang, the question just now was not a challenge, but a job. After all, quasi-god matters must be taken seriously. I hope you understand. Manager Zhao is polite. This is what I should do. Zhang Xingyun replied. I have also learned from many channels that the proof you provided is authentic. Now please wait for a moment. I will send it for signature. Don't worry, it will be very fast. The information can be synchronized in less than half an hour. Okay, thank you for your trouble. Zhang Xingyun said politely. This work efficiency is already very fast. After Manager Zhao said goodbye and left, Nangang Yao also went through the process of claiming the elf. It was handled by a staff member called Xiaoli by Manager Zhao. He couldn't handle the quasi-god, but he could still handle the claim of Nangang Yao's elf. Soon, Nangang Yao's elf was claimed, and Xiaoli also left the room, asking them to wait for a while. It seems that this matter of claiming the quasi-god is quite troublesome. When there were only 2 people in the room, Zhang Xingyun sighed. Of course, after all, it's worth hundreds of millions. How can we not be cautious? Nangang Yao drank a sip of water and then continued. Besides, do you think you can buy it with money? No. No, maybe you can experience it in the future. Oh. So Zhang Xingyun felt that what Nangang Yao said made sense, but it was still far from that realm. Sorry to have kept you waiting. I have already filed the information and synchronized the information. This is a paper version. You can also take it over. It should be useful. Okay, thank you. You're welcome. Nangang Yao's was also processed, and the two said goodbye and left the elf center and rushed to the breeding house in Yangcheng. The breeding house in Yangcheng is not in the city, but in the suburbs. It was originally a secret place, but after being transformed into a breeding house, it covers an area of tens of thousands of acres, and no one knows how many elves live in it. The government also attaches great importance to this breeding house, and has sent a lot of professionals to work in this breeding house. Hey, classmate, do you know which quasi-god there is? Zhang Xingyun asked, after getting off the car in front of the breeding house. I don't know about this either. You will know later. Okay. After walking in, telling the staff at the front desk the purpose of the visit, and verifying the information, he was led to the habitat of the elves. But Nangang Yao did not go with Zhang Xingyun, but was led to another place. Mr. Zhang, we need to use Alakazam's teleportation to reach our destination. We will only teleport you there. I will not follow you. Please be prepared. Oh, okay. The space around the two of them rippled, and an Alakazam appeared, and then his eyes glowed, and Zhang Xingyun disappeared on the spot. The next moment, he appeared on a meadow with several big trees around him. Mr. Zhang, right? A voice rang in Zhang Xingyun's ears. Yes. This was telepathy, and Zhang Xingyun could still feel it. Walk a little to your left. There is a wooden house here. After hearing this, Zhang Xingyun teleported several times and rushed to the place the voice said. Huh. When Zhang Xingyun arrived, he saw an old man in a white robe sitting cross-legged under a big tree. The aura on his body was better than that of Zhao Yuanqian. "Hello senior, I'm here to receive the quasi-god," Zhang Xingyun said respectfully. "Well, I know. I didn't expect that you actually mastered teleportation. Then, you can choose one from the remaining two little guys." After that, two elves appeared in front of Zhang Xingyun. Heart Scale Treasure, Baby Dragon. Chapter 178, Choosing Baby Dragon. Zhang Xingyun looked at the two quasi-gods that appeared in front of him and opened the system to check. If there are only these two choices, then choose between Baby Dragon and Heart Scale Treasure. The old man next to him thought Zhang Xingyun was stunned, so he reminded him, "You can pass the review, which means that the information you provided is very complete. Someone has already received it earlier. The young trainer took away young Kyrus, so you can choose between the two. The Pokémon Center will review the qualifications for receiving it. From the special proofs submitted today, they will be directly reviewed and approved, and you and the other one are like this. For the rest, they have their own considerations. Thank you for the reminder." Zhang Xingyun thanked. The proofs submitted by Zhang Xingyun were quite complete and powerful, and they were quickly approved, and came here to receive it. I guess the Pokémon Center is still reviewing the qualifications of several other Rookie Cup champions. There are still two left now. Zhang Xingyun came neither too early nor too late, and there are still two to choose from. He opened the system and checked it carefully. Name, Heart Scale Treasure, Male, Attribute, Dragon Characteristics, Bulletproof Qualification, Deep Blue Strength, Late Novice Skills, Impact, Staring, Endurance, Dragon Tail, Key Bullet, Self-Motivation, Sword Dance, Reverse Scale, Dragon Dance. The information of this Heart Scale Treasure is displayed on the system interface. Generally speaking, it is a very good elf. For a moment, Zhang Xingyun was a little moved. If the special drink of this Heart Scale Treasure is dust-proof, it would be great. Heart Scale Treasure behaves relatively docile, probably because of its personality. Zhang Xingyun shook his head and looked at the baby dragon again. Name, Baby Dragon, Male, Attribute, Dragon Characteristics, Hardhead Qualification, Deep Blue Strength, Late Novice Skills, Impact, Staring, Head Hammer, Anger, Dragon's Wrath, Dragon's Wave, Dragon Dance, Flame Fang, Dragon Claw, Dragon Breath. In the qualifications of this baby, there is blue in the green, and the dragon bloodline in the body should be very high, otherwise it is impossible to master so many dragon skills. The baby dragon noticed that Zhang Xingyun was observing Lan, so he glared at Zhang Xingyun fiercely and shouted fiercely, "This baby is a bit fierce, a bit interesting." Zhang Xingyun looked at the baby dragon that bared its teeth at him, but he was not angry. After all, he was famous for his bad temper. He also had the capital, and Zhang Xingyun did not show any means to make him feel convinced. If it hadn't been for its previous instructor who specifically told it not to attack casually, it would not only bar its teeth, but would use its iron-like head to push the lungs of the two-legged beast in front of it. It is not like the kid next to it, who has no arrogance of a dragon-type elf. Hey, interesting senior, I've decided, this baby dragon. After Zhang Xingyun scanned it, he had a plan in his mind, and then said to the old man in white robe, "Well, as long as you get its approval, you can take it away." The old man nodded and said lightly, "Although this Heart Scale Treasure is not bad," Zhang Xingyun thought about it, and definitely chose this baby dragon. It was not difficult to get recognition. If I could not get the recognition of this baby dragon, it would be a problem with my trainer level. Baby dragon, become my companion. I will do my best to train you, and let you evolve into the Sky Overlord Dragonite, as soon as possible. Zhang Xingyun squatted down in front of baby dragon, holding a dragon energy cube in his hand, and said to baby dragon. Baby dragon sniffed the energy cube in Zhang Xingyun's hand and ate it. After eating, he yelled at Zhang Xingyun. "Yes, I can make this kind myself. You can eat as much as you want." As Zhang Xingyun spoke, he released his supernatural power to let baby dragon feel his sincerity. The heart is the most real, and baby dragon also sensed Zhang Xingyun's sincerity, but did not recognize him immediately. Instead, he took a fighting posture, but with less hostility. Okay. Zhang Xingyun threw a Pokeball and released Squirtle. Baby Dragon's attitude was very clear. He would only recognize Zhang Xingyun if he defeated it. As for the food before, this was not the point. Baby Dragon would not be tempted by this little energy block. He was a Pokémon with a bottom line. Squirtle, go all out. Take it down for me, Jenny. Hahaha, this little guy is very eager to fight. Young man, you have to show your level. This little guy is not weak. The old man in white robe stood up with a smile and said after taking the hard scale back into the Pokeball. I know. Baby Dragon, it's started. You can attack. Baby Dragon kicked his two short legs and the skull on his head glowed faintly and rushed towards Squirtle. Yo, it's quite fierce. Squirtle shadow clone. Jenny, more than a dozen Squirtle figures appeared on the field. Poof, after Baby Dragon smashed a figure, he looked back and saw that there were still many squirrels. It was a little confused. Wave missile. A blue wave missile was fired from behind Baby Dragon. Baby Dragon seemed to sense the wave missile and grabbed it with a dragon claw. But the wave missile turned past Baby Dragon's claw and hit Baby Dragon from the side. Baby Dragon, who was slightly injured, seemed a little irritable. His eyes were a little red and a dragon breath condensed in an instant and threw it at Squirtle. Squirtle also countered with freezing light, collided with the dragon breath, and then pushed it towards Baby Dragon. It was obvious that Squirtle was stronger than Baby Dragon. Baby Dragon's eyes became redder when he saw this, and the power of the dragon breath increased for a while and pushed back Jenny. Squirtle also increased his strength when he saw this. Bang, the two attacks exploded after a while, and smoke and dust flew. Baby Dragon kicked his legs and ran towards Squirtle, his claws glowing green. Squirtle, you should also charge forward. Use the freezing punch. Squirtle also charged forward after hearing this and had a close combat with Dragonite. The trained Squirtle suppressed Dragonite as soon as they met. Although Dragonite's fighting awareness was still good, it was still no match for Squirtle and was beaten back again and again. Dragonite was repelled by Squirtle for a distance, and then Squirtle condensed two wave missiles and threw them over. Dragonite only had time to attack one of them, but was hit by the other, and then a water gun hit Dragonite. Zizzy, a freezing ray shot at Dragonite, who was half squatting on the ground. Dragonite was very proud, so Zhang Xingyun had no choice but to do this. A dragon-shaped energy spurted out from Dragonite's mouth, resisting the attacking freezing ray. Okay, get close to it and use freeze punch. Jenny. When Dragonite was using Dragon's Fury, Squirtle took the opportunity to get close to Dragonite and used freeze punch to knock Dragonite back again. Squirtle water wave. After a bang, Dragonite was covered with wounds, but still stood stubbornly. Chapter 179, Conquering the Baby Dragon. Okay, Squirtle, stop now. Zhang Xingyun said to Squirtle, and then teleported in front of Baby Dragon. You have seen how powerful Squirtle is, and you can also see my level of trainer from here. Believe me, I must be a qualified trainer. You have a strong sense of combat, but there are still many mistakes in some details. As long as you go through my training, you will become stronger, at least stronger than you are now. Now, I once again sincerely invite you to be my partner. As long as you are not afraid of hardship, we will become stronger together. Zhang Xingyun communicated with Baby Dragon through telepathy, and he also showed great sincerity. Baby Dragon stretched out a hand, and Zhang Xingyun saw this, also stretched out his hand, and matched with Baby Dragon. Welcome, Baby Dragon. Zhang Xingyun laughed, and Baby Dragon still recognized Zhang Xingyun for his behavior. This Pokeball is Baby Dragon's Pokémon. You can attach the link, and it will be fine. A Pokeball appeared in front of Zhang Xingyun, and the voice of the old man came to his ears. Okay, thank you senior. Zhang Xingyun picked up the Pokeball, attached the link, and placed it in front of Baby Dragon. Baby Dragon directly clicked on the Pokeball, turned into a red light, and entered the Pokeball. Ha, it's done. The future Dragonite. Zhang Xingyun picked up the Pokeball, released Baby Dragon, took out the medicine to treat Baby Dragon, and put it back into the Pokeball. The old man in white robe next to him smiled and watched Zhang Xingyun's behavior. Hahaha, I'm very optimistic about you. Come on, with the addition of Baby Dragon, you have an extra helper. I hope to see you in the national competition. The old man said. The kid will definitely try his best. Hahaha, what a humble and low-key boy. The last young man was quite proud. Okay, no more small talk. I'll take you out. Then I'll trouble you, senior. Zhang Xingyun disappeared on the spot, and the next moment he appeared in the lobby on the first floor of the breeding house. As soon as he appeared, the staff member who had been waiting for Zhang Xingyun was on the spot and took Zhang Xingyun to sign a name and let him do as he pleased. Zhang Xingyun estimated that Nangang Yao was still selecting elves, so he found a place and sat down. He was thinking about the breeding plan for the baby dragon. Ding dong, Zhang Xingyun's phone rang at this time. He clicked it and saw an unread message. Zhang Xingyun clicked it and saw that he had to pay 30 million quasi-god fees and then go to the elf center to pay 30,000 merit points. Zhang Xingyun naturally did not get this baby dragon for free. There were still some things to pay, but Zhang Xingyun still felt that it was a blood profit, and he was grateful for the help of the government. If there was no reward from the government this time, Zhang Xingyun would not know where to get a baby dragon, and such an excellent baby dragon. The previous young Kyrus was only encountered by Zhang Xingyun because of his great luck. Zhang Xingyun did not think he would have such luck again. After Zhang Xingyun paid 30 million yuan and 30,000 merit points, the phone dinged again. Another new message. Zhang Xingyun clicked it and saw some breeding information about the baby dragon, and there was also a link on it. After clicking the link, log into your own direct account, and it will be displayed after a series of verifications such as fingerprints and irises. It turned out to be the cultivation secrets of baby dragon. From novice to elite level, and the quasi-king level requires Zhang Xingyun to pay merit points to exchange. After reading it, Zhang Xingyun also had a bottom line in his heart. The government's support is still good. Now Nangang Yao has not come out yet. Zhang Xingyun started to read the contents of the cultivation secrets. It seems that the resources for cultivating baby dragon are almost the same as those for young Kyrus, but the quantity is less, but the quality required is indeed higher. I have to work hard to make money. Now there are only more than 10 million liquid funds left. I also have to get a set of exclusive energy blocks for baby dragon. I can't waste its talent. I also have to learn from these secrets to make a cultivation plan. Zhang Xingyun looked at the cultivation secrets on his phone and thought secretly. The power of the quasi-god elves also requires resources. For example, according to the cultivation plan, baby dragon also needs dragon blood fruit, dragon blood ganoderma, jade dragon birthday, etc. A lot of dragon cultivation resources. Not to mention the high prices. Some of them are not even available. Fortunately, Zhang Xingyun saw some on sale on the official website of the direct lineage, but they are a bit expensive. After comparing the prices, and out of some concerns, Zhang Xingyun still chose to place an order on the official website instead of buying it on the system. Have you chosen it? What kind of elf is it? While Zhang Xingyun was looking at his phone, Nangang Yao also came out. He was holding a cute Takipi on his chest. This Takipi is the elf you chose this time. Yes, I think it's cute, and it suits my taste, so I chose it. Nangang Yao touched the Takipi in his arms and said, well, you have a good eye. This Takipi is also an excellent Pokémon. Did you feel that too? Just now, besides being pleasing to my eye, I also thought it had good qualifications. By the way, which quasi-god did you choose? Baby Dragon, an excellent dragon type Pokémon. It's this one. It's pretty good. It can evolve into a Tyranitar in the future. It's also a powerful quasi-god. Maybe it can become a king. Zhang Xingyun put away his phone, stood up, and said to Nangang Yao, the matter is done. Let's go and get a meal. Do you have anything to eat? Let's go. I went to a restaurant last time, and it felt pretty good. Okay. Zhang Xingyun asked Nangang Yao to lead the way and headed to the restaurant she mentioned. The weather in Guangzhou is hot all year round. Now it's November, and I'm still sweating profusely when I walk on the road. After walking for a while to the subway station, I squeezed in the subway for a while, and walked for a while, before I arrived at the restaurant Nangang Yao mentioned. It looked quite upscale, so the two walked in, found a table and sat down. After placing their order, they handed it to the waiter. There are quite a lot of dishes in Nanhai province. After all, the people of Nanayu know how to eat, and some of the names are rather strange, like clay pot rice, human head rice, and fried ghost. Nangang said. The names of the food in Nanayu province are indeed a bit strange, but they have existed since before the elves came. Some people also say that the people of Nanayu like to eat Minnan people. After listening to Nangang Yao's words, Zhang Xingyun said, haha, I saw this on the internet. It's quite interesting. Soon the dishes came up, and the two of them started eating. The color and taste were all good, and the taste was really good. Chapter 180 Return to Changning. Zhang Xingyun spent a few days in Guangzhou, during which he visited many scenic spots and learned about Guangzhou's customs. Nangang Yao is very familiar with Guangzhou, and she knows many places well. She took Zhang Xingyun to walk the streets and ate many local delicacies. If Zhang Xingyun didn't know that she was from Jinling, he would have thought she was a native of Guangzhou. Guangzhou is indeed a first-tier city. The elf atmosphere here is particularly strong. There is a battlefield every few miles, and it is crowded. Zhang Xingyun also saw several quasi-god elves appear, which also made him see the prosperity of first-tier cities. Now taking quasi-god elves out, the effect is more eye-catching than the luxury cars in the previous life. Nowadays, if people want to show off, they don't show off luxury cars, but show off elves, especially precious elves. Showing off luxury cars will be scolded as rustic. In this society, as long as your strength is enough, then there is no problem with how many luxury cars you have. People with foresight have invested money and resources in elves in the early stage. I'm finally home. In the evening, Zhang Xingyun opened the door of his home and walked in. He sat on the sofa and took a deep breath. My own doghouse is still comfortable. There are no golden nests or silver nests as good as my own doghouse. During these days in Guangzhou, I stayed in a hotel. Although the hotel is very high-end, it doesn't feel like living in my own home. Nido Heibu Heibu. The elves all came out of the elf balls. After they returned home, they didn't stay in the elf balls. Compared with the elf balls, they still like the outside. Young Kiris and Squirtle, you take baby dragon to familiarize yourself with the environment. You three will have a day off today, but don't go out of the fence. Squirtle indicated that there was no problem and took out a pair of sunglasses from his shell and put them on. This pair of sunglasses was bought a few days ago when he was playing in Guangzhou. Now Squirtle took it out and put it on, looking a little social. This reminded Zhang Xingyun of the group of squirrels in the anime in his previous life, who also liked to wear sunglasses and dress like a social person. Squirtle signaled baby dragon to follow it. It wanted to take it to see the surroundings and familiarize itself with the environment. Baby dragon did not refuse and followed Squirtle out for a walk. During the time in Guangzhou, baby dragon and Squirtle had become familiar with each other, especially Squirtle. Although Squirtle defeated it, baby dragon did not bear a grudge and had a better relationship with Squirtle and young Kiris. It might be because they were both novice or initial forms of Pokémon. Young Kiris did not go, but returned to his own pile of dirt, lying on it, eating the ore placed next to him, crunching. Baby dragon called to the lying young Kiris. Young Kiris lazily raised his hand, meaning that Squirtle could take it over, and it would not go by itself. Baby dragon followed Squirtle to look around, and Zhang Xingyun stood up, after lying for a while, took out some ingredients bought on the road from his backpack, and walked into the kitchen. These days, Nidorino and the others have been eating some energy cubes. In Zhang Xingyun's opinion, the food is still too monotonous, so Zhang Xingyun plans to prepare them. It happened to be almost evening, so it was regarded as a dinner. Zhang Xingyun started to work in the kitchen, and soon there was a burst of fragrance. This time, Zhang Xingyun made more. Although baby dragon looks small, it is like young Kiris, and it is a thief who eats a lot. He especially likes to eat meat. Zhang Xingyun knew it in these few days in Guangzhou. After a while, Zhang Xingyun came to the stone table beside the training ground with a large iron basin full of food. The usual plates are less loaded, and they are gone as soon as they are on the table. So in order to eat more comfortably, you have to use a large iron basin to put it. Electrician, come with me and bring out all the food. I'll cook more tonight. Hey boo. After hearing this, Electicon stopped training, went to the faucet, washed his hands, and followed Zhang Xingyun into the kitchen to bring out the food. When Zhang Xingyun came out, the elves were all squatting on the ground around the food, waiting for Zhang Xingyun. "Here I am, Squirtle, make way." Zhang Xingyun put down the last big bowl of clear soup, and then filled the food bowls in front of each elf with food, and started eating. Maybe it was the first time for Baby Dragon to eat the food made by Zhang Xingyun. It should be very suitable for its taste, and it has been eating frantically. "Baby Dragon, I made a lot, take your time." Looking at the way Baby Dragon eats, Zhang Xingyun chuckled, which means that what he cooks is very suitable for Baby Dragon's appetite. Looking at the way the elves eat, Zhang Xingyun also has a great appetite and starts eating. Nidorino and the others live with Zhang Xingyun and have some human living habits. Like Huaidi, they would also help Zhang Xingyun with housework, etc. The food cooked by Zhang Xingyun tasted delicious, but the energy contained was not much, and it was mainly to satisfy their appetite. After eating, they cleaned up and cleaned the room. They had not been home for a few days, so it was still a little dirty. After Zhang Xingyun finished cleaning up, when he walked to the training ground, he saw Baby Dragon hitting a sandbag. This sandbag was prepared by Zhang Xingyun for the electric beast. The whole set was exchanged in the system and was suitable for ordinary level elves. Bang! Baby Dragon knocked the sandbag up, and the sandbag flew back and hit Baby Dragon's head, knocking it staggering. "Baby Dragon, are you practicing your head hammer?" Looking at Baby Dragon's appearance, Zhang Xingyun asked. Very well, what you said is not bad, but what if you encounter a fast Pokémon? Not only will you be unable to attack, but you will also be taken advantage of. Since you are interested, let's do a simple training. You will charge, and I will tell you the direction. You have to react in the shortest possible time. This can train your reaction speed. Don't forget that I'm your trainer. When you are fighting, I will also participate and give you instructions. So we have to cooperate well. You are not fighting alone, but I'm also here. After listening to this, Baby Dragon nodded heavily. Baby Dragon was not like young Kyrus, who was taken care of by Zhang Xingyun when he was in the egg. Baby Dragon should have been hatched for a while, so it is inevitable that he has his own way of fighting. Chapter 181 Baby Dragon Training. Baby Dragon is still young now, and it can be corrected and cultivated slowly to form a sufficient bond. Some old-fashioned Pokémon in the wild may not pay attention to you, even if you give your heart. It will be very uncomfortable to get along with such Pokémon, and it will be even more difficult to form a tacit understanding. Therefore, many Pokémon of new trainers are either young or hatched from Pokémon eggs. Baby Dragon, go right. Zhang Xingyun threw a small ball over and gave Baby Dragon's instructions. After Baby Dragon heard the words, it bumped to the right and knocked the small ball thrown by Zhang Xingyun away. Left jump plus upper right. Baby Dragon completed every instruction of Zhang Xingyun seriously. Baby Dragon did a good job. Here is this energy block as a reward for you. Zhang Xingyun took out an energy block and handed it to Baby Dragon as a reward for it. Baby Dragon also happily took it, threw it into his mouth, chewed it a few times, and swallowed it. The dinner was just some ordinary food. It tasted good, but the energy contained was still relatively small, so it needed to be supplemented. Zhang Xingyun was quite satisfied with Baby Dragon's performance. It was a little unfamiliar at the beginning, but it got better slowly. Okay, Baby Dragon, that's it for today. Tomorrow, I will make you a special energy block and guide you in training. Betty, Jenny, Young G, Young Kyrus and Squirtle also came over and gathered with Baby Dragon. After Zhang Xingyun circled around, he went into the study and made a breeding plan. Young G, Jenny, Young Kyrus handed Baby Dragon a star law and told Baby Dragon to eat it. There was no need to be polite to it. And Squirtle also took out a piece of cold water droplets, which it had processed, and it usually liked it very much. It can be seen that Baby Dragon refused, and the three little ones were communicating. In the study, Zhang Xingyun was looking at his phone. After paying a sum of elf coins and merit points, he successfully obtained a medium level energy block formula Dragon Roar. In Zhang Xingyun's opinion, the difficulty of making the dragon raw energy block is not very great, but the raw materials are difficult to find. Zhang Xingyun opened the official website of the breeder to see if there is any. After searching for a while, he found that there is, and it is quite complete. It seems that the raw materials of the intermediate energy block, even the dragon resources, can still be found, unlike the advanced energy blocks. It's good to find it. If you can't find it, Zhang Xingyun will use the system to exchange it. He is different from ordinary paw trainers. Many advanced resources can be obtained from the system. Tomorrow happens to be Sunday, and there is no class. After guiding the training of the elves, you can go to make energy blocks. Nidorino and their energy blocks are not bad. I have to store some. The workload tomorrow is still quite a lot. Zhang Xingyun pinched his eyebrows, but for the growth and development of young Kiris, these hard work is still worth it. I won't sell the ones I made tomorrow. I still need some moonstone for Nidorino. I still have more than 10 million in liquid funds, but I won't use them for now. When the opportunity for Nidorino's evolution comes, if I haven't accumulated enough energy, I'll use the money to pile it up. Thinking of Nidorino, Vegeta is almost there. When Zhang Xingyun had 40 million yuan, he was very confident. Now, with more than 10 million left, he has to plan carefully. Zhang Xingyun planned all these all night. After 12 o'clock, Zhang Xingyun stopped, walked out of the study, and went to the bathroom to wash up. When he came out, he saw Squirtle moving its water tank near the pile of earth of the young Kiris, and next to it was a small nest that Zhang Xingyun made for the baby dragon. It seems that the three little ones have a good relationship and sleep together. Nidorino heard the noise and opened his eyes. After seeing that it was Zhang Xingyun, he continued to lie down. Looking around, seeing that there was nothing else unusual, Zhang Xingyun went to rest. Soon it was the next morning. Zhang Xingyun opened his eyes and exhaled a breath of turbid air. After exercising, he got up and washed as usual. After making breakfast, he went to his own training ground to exercise and cheer up. After breakfast, Zhang Xingyun rushed to the club's training room. He had reserved the training room last night. Zhang Xingyun first guided Baby Dragon to train, and after letting it perform a few times, he pointed out its shortcomings and continued training. Then he went to Nidorino and the others. If there were any problems, he would guide them. If there were no problems, he would let them train new content. After around 3 hours had passed. Training Pokémon is not something that can be done by just talking. After explaining, some people have to show it roughly. Baby Dragon, your ability to control dragon energy is not good. It was shown in the battle with Squirtle that day. Zhang Xingyun mainly trained Baby Dragon. Excluding last night's training, today is the first formal training for Baby Dragon. Baby Dragon is also a smart elf. It corrected all the shortcomings pointed out by Zhang Xingyun. It is worthy of being a quasi-god elf with deep science qualifications. After Baby Dragon's training seemed to be on the right track, Zhang Xingyun asked Nidorino and the others to pay more attention, and left the club. The elves have training today, and Zhang Xingyun also has things to do. After making an appointment last night, Zhang Xingyun went directly to the machine room, and the materials inside were all laid out. After washing his hands and putting on the clothes provided by the machine room, Zhang Xingyun began to make energy blocks. Zhang Xingyun first made the universal intermediate energy block Yuanling to get familiar with the feel. Soon, Yuanling was made. Zhang Xingyun picked it up and looked at it for a few times. The appearance was very good. After making it a few more times, he started to make Baby Dragon's energy block. The production techniques are roughly the same, but a few of the materials need to be paid special attention. But with the help of supernatural powers, Zhang Xingyun can make it easily. Soon, a light red energy block with hot smoke appeared in front of Zhang Xingyun. It's crystal clear and contains enough energy. It's a top grade product. It seems that my skills have improved. Zhang Xingyun murmured as he looked at Langming. After making it many times, he is now making intermediate energy blocks. Both the output and quality have improved a lot. After putting the energy block away, he made it a few more times and then stopped to rest. He sat aside to regulate his breathing. During the production process, he also consumed his supernatural powers, and Zhang Xingyun also felt tired. Chapter 182. Admission. Zhang Xingyun spent this Sunday making energy blocks and training elves. The next day was Monday again, when all the students felt bad. Fortunately, Zhang Xingyun was in class 20, so he didn't have much homework, and he performed very well, so he didn't have to do homework at all, and it was very convenient to ask for leave. Naturally, he didn't go back to school like other students. Good morning, Weizhao, Xiafeng. Good morning, Xingyun. You're back from Yangcheng. Did you get the quasi-god? Seeing Zhang Xingyun appear in class, Song Weizhao asked excitedly. I got it. Zhang Xingyun put down his school bag and sat down. I was saying that, when the teacher said you went to Yangcheng to get the elf a few days ago, I was thinking that with your conditions, you would definitely get it. Now, you got it. By the way, what kind of elf is it? Song Weizhao explained. I got the baby dragon. Wow, it's the initial form of the bloody crescent violent dragon. Awesome. Song Weizhao complimented. Xingyun, you got the treasure dragon. At this time, Gao Yuan also came over and said in surprise. Yes, I got it. This year is a little special, so I got it. I'm envious. With a quasi-god spirit, if nothing unexpected happens, it won't be difficult to become a quasi-king, or even a king. Congratulations to you, the future King Zhang. Ha ha ha. After hearing that Zhang Xingyun got the treasure dragon, Gao Yuan also congratulated him. You are worthy of being in our class 20. Amazing. Several classmates in the class came over and had a friendly chat with Zhang Xingyun. On weekdays, Zhang Xingyun is gentle and has good popularity. Now that he has got the quasi-god spirit, his classmates just congratulate him. There is no mortal enemy who slanders or confronts him. They are all students and there is no big hatred. Maybe Gao Yuan and his friends will envy him, but not to the extent of jealousy. After all, Zhang Xingyun did not come out of thin air. He also worked hard. Besides, the ability users can't make them jealous. By the way, Xingyun, which Pokémon did Nangang choose? It should be a precious Pokémon, right? Chen Yu asked, looking at the seat next to Zhang Xingyun. Are you talking about me? Nangang Yao also walked to the back door at this time and just heard Chen Yu's question. Here, class monitor, ask the person involved. Zhang Xingyun said. Yi Crossing and several other classmates also made way for Nangang Yao to sit down. Hey, Nangang, which Pokémon did you choose? Is it cute? He Jingwen asked. It's a Poké. It's pretty cute. Wow, let it out quickly so that everyone can see it. Okay. Chakai the Pokémon that appeared in Nangang Yao's arms was not afraid of strangers and cheered for Chen Yu and others, looking very cute. Wow, so cute. That's right. Chen Yu and He Jingwen and several other girls shouted when they saw the cute Pokémon, and they all came up to hug it. And Pokémon's information was also displayed on Zhang Xingyun's system interface. Name, TGP, female, attribute, fairy characteristic, Heaven's Grace qualification, light blue strength, novice midterm skills, call, act like a spoiled child, yawn, angel's kiss, command, gift from the information displayed on the system. This TGP is also a very good Pokémon. Heaven's Grace is a rare characteristic. TGP is known as a Pokémon that brings good luck. Perhaps this characteristic exists. After seeing that TGP has Heaven's Grace, Zhang Xingyun thought of the Treasure King's quest. When he saw He Jingwen, he thought of Slowpoke evolving into Slowpoke. At present, there is no psychic Pokémon in his team, so he certainly doesn't count, although he is not much different from those psychic Pokémon. As they chatted, they asked Zhang Xingyun to release Baby Dragon for everyone to see. It happened that Baby Dragon was not sent to the club for training today, so he released Baby Dragon and told him not to hurt his classmates. Baby Dragon was not afraid of the stage either. He stood up straight and faced everyone. Wow, love it. This dragon is something. Yeah, it has the demeanor of a quasi-god. It's the future Dragonite. The classmates all praised the dragon, which made the dragon a little proud. There were also a few classmates who wanted to hold the dragon, but the dragon refused with a gritted teeth. It was not TGP. It would not come out unless its trainer asked it to. Okay, Weezhao, if the dragon doesn't want to be held, don't force it. Zhang Xingyun stopped Song Weezhao, who wanted to hold the dragon, and after letting everyone look at it for a while, he put it back into the Pokeball. After finishing the theory class, he still had to go to the hospital to give the dragon a full body check, which was still necessary, although the dragon didn't look like it was abused. Soon, the bell for class rang, and the teacher came in and started the day's lecture. Zhang Xingyun had learned everything the teacher taught by himself, and he had mastered all the topics he talked about, so he took out his notebook and continued to make plans. Hey, if you are recommended, which school will you go to? Zhang Xingyun, who was writing, heard Nangang Yao's voice. Recommended? The one from last time? Of course not. Changning University is good, but it is definitely much worse than the top 10 universities in China. You won the Changning Rookie Cup Championship. It is possible that the two universities of the Imperial Capital and the Magic City have noticed it. Maybe their information has already reached the Academic Affairs Office. You are quite well informed. Zhang Xingyun looked at Nangang Yao and said telepathically, by the way, you said you need my help. When are we going? Has your elf broken through to the elite level? Not yet. It will take some time. Then wait until your elf breaks through to the elite level. It's safer. Okay. Zhang Xingyun still remembered what Nangang Yao said before about going to the Luohu secret realm to hunt, so he asked this question. This time, the two of them were very careful in their communication, and they would not be noticed by Teacher Huang as they were distracted like last time. When Zhang Xingyun and Nangang Yao were chatting, they both sat straight, looking at the teacher, and it was hard to tell that they were absent-minded. Ding ling ling, ding ling ling, the bell for the end of get out of class rang. After watching the teacher walk out the door, Zhang Xingyun took a sip of water and was about to look for the head teacher Wang Yu, but Wang Yu was already on the podium. Zhang Xingyun, Nangang Yao, you two come to the office with me. I have something to tell you. The whole class was silent for a while, looking at the two. It's good news. The school above has sent a message. Let's go to the office. Okay. The two of them walked to the office with Wang Yu. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183, The Divine Beast of a Prestigious University. I called you two here this time because you two performed well in this Rookie Cup, especially Zhang Xingyun. I received the recommendation information from the teaching department this morning. When they arrived at Wang Yu's office, Wang Yu asked the two to sit down first and said slowly, "Then teacher, which university are you recommended to?" Zhang Xingyun asked. Hey, this time is not like the last time. This time, even Imperial Capital University sent a recommendation letter. Looking at Zhang Xingyun's expression, Wang Yu said with a smile. It can be seen that Wang Yu is still very happy. This year, there are two people in his class who can be recommended to the highest universities in China. This is also his honor. In previous years, only one or two people in the entire Changning No. 9 middle school could enter the Imperial Capital. This year, there are two people alone, Zhang Xingyun and Nangang Yao. Although Zhang Xingyun and Nangang Yao transferred here this semester, it is not important. It is enough that the two are enrolled in Changning No. 9 middle school. The honors and awards are naturally from No. 9 middle school. Really, not only the Imperial Capital, but also the Magic Capital, Jinling, and National Defense. These top universities have all sent me the qualifications for recommendation. Hearing this, Zhang Xingyun didn't know what to say for a moment. The recommendation of these universities, each of which is a top name, is a university that ordinary students may not be able to enter, even if they try their best, but he has the qualifications for recommendation. Zhang Xingyun looked at Nangang Yao, who looked confident, as if he had expected it long ago. I guessed it right, didn't I just say it? Look, isn't it here? Since you won the Changning Rookie Cup Championship, you have the qualifications for recommendation, not to mention that you are also a capable person. We capable people still have a lot of extra points. Seeing Zhang Xingyun looking at her, Nangang Yeo said lightly, "Then teacher, what major is this recommendation for?" Zhang Xingyun asked. "For the elf battle department, except for the imperial capital, other schools have some special talent allowances. Look at the computer, they are all here." Wang Yu turned on the computer and displayed the information on the computer screen so that the T could see the specific treatment for recommendation. After looking at it for a while, Nangang Yeo said, "Why is the treatment given to you by the Imperial Capital University a little lower than mine? You know, you are the champion of the Rookie Cup." Listening to Nangang Yeo's words, Zhang Xingyun looked at the treatment given by the Imperial Capital University and pondered. It may be that the Imperial Capital University found out that Zhang Xingyun's elf combat power is still at the ordinary level, so the treatment given is a little lower than that of Nangang Yeo. Nangang Yeo only won the championship, but for some reason, the treatment is better than Zhang Xingyun. "Why is my treatment a little worse than yours?" Zhang Xingyun asked, a little confused. "Maybe your main battle elf has not yet broken through to the elite level, or there are some other reasons." It seems that they have good vision, haha. Seeing that Zhang Xingyun's treatment was lower than hers, Nangang Yeo laughed. "In fact, the school will conduct an audit of the recommended students. One is the ability, and the second is the family investigation. Zhang Xingyun's family background is easy to investigate, and they also know Zhang Xingyun's situation over the years, so the treatment shown is lower than Nangang Yeo." Zhang Xingyun was a little surprised, but he could understand it after thinking about it. "So, which university do you like? There are still 3 days before I submit it. You two go back first and think about it slowly. If you don't understand, you can also ask me." Wang Yu signaled the two not to rush to make a choice, indicating that there is still time and they can choose slowly and think about it slowly when they go back. "Okay, thank you teacher. By the way, teacher, when I have no classes later, I will go to the elf hospital to check the elves." "Okay, I know." Then, Zhang Xingyun and Nangang Yeo walked out of the office, and the two were talking about choosing a university. In fact, the treatment that the Imperial Capital gives us is not much different. The only difference is that it is different from Guanghe. Yeah. So, which one do you choose? I'll go back and look for it. They are all of the same level. I have to compare them more. That's right. Then you can compare them slowly. The two chatted and returned to the class. The classmates in the class also came to ask, and when they learned that they were recommended to famous universities, they congratulated the two. "You can also go to these universities. Come on, there is still half a year before the college entrance examination, and there is still hope. Now with your current appearance, you are all starting from the first class." Zhang Xingyun also responded. He did not lie about this, but it was the case with class 20. Fang Hongjian, Chen Yu and others in the class. On the day of the college entrance examination, Zhang Xingyun believed that the Imperial Capital and Magic City might be a little bit uncertain, but the national universities in the province, as well as the Northwest and Southeast universities, would not be a big problem. After all, it is the ace class of Changning No. 9 Middle School. Except for 4 students who are still hovering in the late novice stage, the others have entered the ordinary level. Zhang Xingyun opened his phone, checked some information about several universities, and went to some forums to observe carefully. Is it true that there are mythical beasts in universities? After looking at his phone for a while, Zhang Xingyun asked Nangang Yeo beside him. It's true. There are really mythical beasts in these universities. This is also the difference from ordinary universities. For example, the mythical beast spirit of Jinling University is the mythical beast Yandi. That was the first time I saw a mythical beast. It really exists. Zhang Xingyun only now knows that there are mythical beasts in universities. He had never learned about it before. The frozen bird of the national university of this province, the water king of the magic city, and the thunder god of Jiangsu and Zhejiang. These are all the mythical beasts that exist in these universities. These top universities all have mythical beasts. But there are also a few universities that do not have mythical beasts, but they will not lose too much to these schools, such as Northwest University. Due to its geographical location and the existence of the Sandstorm Pei family, the symbol of Northwest University is Bangaris. In Chinese universities, there is a saying that top universities may not have mythical beasts, but if there are top universities, there must be mythical beasts. Therefore, the status of mythical beasts can be seen. The beasts of these famous schools are stronger than their peers. Someone discovered the existence of the priesthood after digging a secret realm. The priesthood? Yes, the priesthood. This field is at least at the level of the champion. I don't know much. Nangang Yao replied. Zhang Xingyun then talked with Nangang Yao about this matter and learned a lot. Seeing that the time was almost up, he left the school and rushed to the elf hospital to give the baby dragon a comprehensive examination. Chapter 184, Magic City University. Your baby dragon is in very good health, but he still needs to take more calcium supplements. Inside the counter, the nurse handed the baby dragon's Pokeball to Zhang Xingyun and gave instructions. Okay, thank you, I know. Zhang Xingyun took it and thanked him before leaving the Pokémon hospital and rushing back to the club's training room. With the help of the computer in the training room, he looked at the famous schools in China. Because of the arrival of the elves, it was both a crisis and a challenge. China seized this opportunity and developed. Its national strength is even stronger than that of the United States, and it has achieved the revival of China. Now China is not inferior to the United States in any industry. For example, in the education industry, the top universities in China are not much different from those in the United States. Therefore, there are not many students studying abroad. Most students stay in their own country to build their own country. Which one should I choose? Imperial University or Magic City? Or the National Defense University with a military background? Or should I just stay in the province and go directly to a national university? After comprehensive consideration, Zhang Xingyun liked these 4 universities. Among the 4 universities, the difference is not too big and each has its own advantages. The treatment offered is very good, so Zhang Xingyun is struggling to decide which one to go to. Zhang Xingyun scratched his head, picked up his mobile phone, and sent a WeChat message to Nangang Yao, asking her which university to choose, so that he could refer to it. As a result, Nangang Yao's reply was confidential. Forget it, then Magic City University, which can be regarded as a dream, when I was a child. Zhang Xingyun murmured. His dream in his previous life was to go to Magic City, but his grades were not good enough, and he missed it regretfully. Thinking of this, Zhang Xingyun stopped struggling. Magic City University is also very large, and its geographical location and faculty are not bad. Moreover, the strength of the top 10 universities in China is not much different. Perhaps it is because each place has its own characteristics. It depends on the student's choice. Some students like the south, and some like the north. After checking the time, Zhang Xingyun took the giant mantis out of the training room and rushed to the school. Soon they returned to the classroom. Hey, you haven't decided yet? Nangang Yao asked as soon as she sat down. Keep it a secret. Zhang Xingyun replied to her with Nangang Yao's reply just now. I've decided too. I'll go talk to Teacher Wang now. Do you want to join us? Sure. The two got up and went to Wang Yu's office. Have you two considered it? Do you need to think about it further? It's too early now. Wang Yu sat on the chair and looked at the two and said, no need, teacher, I've decided. Anyway, they are all about the same. All universities of the same level. Zhang Xingyun replied. Well, which one did you two choose? Wang Yu turned on the computer and asked the two. Zhang Xingyun and Nangang Yao said in unison, Mode University. After that, the two looked at each other and were a little surprised. Mode University, it's pretty good. Let's do this. I'll put you two up first. Hearing that the two chose Mode University, Wang Yu nodded, looking not surprised. According to their qualifications, they could enter several top universities in China. It just depends on which one they consider. So it was expected that they chose Magic City University. I didn't expect you to choose Magic City University. Nangang Yao said on the way back to the classroom. I didn't expect you to choose Magic City University either. In this case, we might be classmates again. Zhang Xingyun laughed and looked over the fence. Some students were already fighting on the school's training ground, and he had been recommended. Why did you choose Magic City University? I thought you would choose Imperial City University. I wanted to go there before. What about you? I also thought you would go to Imperial City University. After all, it's in the capital. Zhang Xingyun asked back. Magic City University is currently studying a secret realm that has recently descended near Magic City. It's quite interesting, so I chose this. Hey, what do you think the attributes of Vulpix are? After listening to this, Zhang Xingyun imagined the appearance of Vulpix in his mind. Vulpix is a small, full-legged Pokémon that looks like a fox. It has reddish-brown fur, brown pupils, amber eyes, big pointed ears, and dark brown inner ears. It has 6 orange curly tails. Fire type. Zhang Xingyun said it without thinking too much. But I learned that the investigation team of Magic City University found Vulpix with ice attribute in that secret realm. Not only Vulpix, but also other Pokémon, such as Galagada and Meowth, are different from what we have found now. This is a big discovery, very interesting, so I chose Magic City University. After listening to Nangang Yao's words, Zhang Xingyun was stunned. This is a Pokémon from the Alola region. The Pokémon from the Alola region in the anime I saw in my previous life fits the description very well. You are also shocked. Haha, I was also shocked at that time. Somewhat shocked. Zhang Xingyun smiled. When thinking of Alola, Zhang Xingyun thought of Xiaozi, who became the league champion in Alola. Xiaozi rarely won the championship. Xiaozi traveled for so many years, and almost won in the Kalos region. It was obviously a water-type Greninja versus a fire-type Charizard, but he still lost. This is a bit outrageous. Alola has also appeared, so will there be other appearances next? Zhang Xingyun thought to himself. Forget it, who cares? Let's improve our strength first, and then we will talk about it. Now we don't have strength, and there are restrictions on what we can do. After the two returned to class, there was no theoretical class in the afternoon, but it seemed that there would be a theoretical exam in the next 2 days. Now the students are reviewing their knowledge. Hey, you two are back. How are you? Which school are you choosing? Not long after Zhang Xingyun sat down, Song Weizhou came over and asked. Guess. Zhang Xingyun said with a smile, looking at the books he placed on the table, and he didn't seem to have to study, and he was in a good mood for a while. Is it Imperial Capital University? Yi Crossing asked. After Zhang Xingyun returned to the classroom, other students in the class also noticed it. Yi Crossing and Fang Hongjian put down their textbooks and gathered around. They were also curious about which university Zhang Xingyun and Nangang Yao would choose. No, it's Magic City University. Zhang Xingyun replied. Now you don't have to study, you're directly recommended, and we still have to study hard. Song Weizhou said with some grief and indignation. Now Zhang Xingyun doesn't have to study and can go to a famous university while they are still struggling to solve problems and train elves. You can also, but I just don't want to. When Zhang Xingyun was in Wang Yu's office, he also found that Yangcheng University recommended Fang Hongjian and Chen Yu, several outstanding students. Since the elves came, there are many more recommended universities. For example, Changning University has recommended, but there are certain evaluation standards. Chapter 185 Nidorino no Evolution. In the evening, Zhang Xingyun lay on a reclining chair, looking up at the sky, thinking about the future. During the day, Wang Yu also told him that, now that he had been recommended, he would not make any requirements for Zhang Xingyun's study in the school, and it would be up to Zhang Xingyun. If Zhang Xingyun felt that the school was useful, he could come to the school to study, and the school would always welcome him. If he felt that he did not need it, he did not need to ask for leave or anything. Wang Yu also said that it was Principal Li Yuning's intention, and every month's subsidy would be converted into elf coins and sent to Zhang Xingyun's bank card. Although it was small, it was a reward for him as an excellent student. Zhang Xingyun still remembered that when he was attacked by a venomous snake, it was Vice Principal Wang and several others who went to Yangxing Forest to look for him. It was also, when he was the poorest, that Principal Li Yuning applied for a batch of resources for him to help his growth. Looking at the recommendation information on his mobile phone, Zhang Xingyun had mixed feelings. He had learned everything he should learn, and the teachers in the school were not very helpful to him. The teachers in this school also knew it. According to ordinary students, the teachers in the school are enough, but Zhang Xingyun is not an ordinary student. He can also be said to be a genius. And geniuses naturally have genius treatment. Go to school occasionally in the future. It's also good to enjoy school life. Now that I don't have to go to class, I have so much time free, so I have to plan it well. Thinking of this, Zhang Xingyun got up from the sun chair and walked into the study. On the second day, Zhang Xingyun came to the training room of the Pokémon Club. Because he didn't have to go to class, he could come to train the Pokémon today. First, let the three little ones, young Kyrus, Squirtle, and Baby Dragon, run in first, and then train Nidorino and others, from singles, team battles, long range, close combat, all aspects, have been trained. In the following period of time, Zhang Xingyun took young Kyrus and others to the wild to find suitable Pokémon to fight. Theoretical training is indispensable, but practical training is also indispensable. The qualifications of the three little ones of young Kyrus are not low, and now Zhang Xingyun has the ability to obtain resources to cultivate them, so the three little ones have made great progress. Time flies, and it is mid-December. The South Vietnam province in the south of China has also seen cold air, and pedestrians on the road have added clothes. Zhang Xingyun returned home in combat uniform. He has survived in the wild for more than 3 days, and today he came back to rest. Since he was admitted, Zhang Xingyun rarely went to school. He only went there occasionally. On weekdays, he either trained elves in the Pokémon Club, or made energy blocks at the Cultivation Association, or hunted in the wild to fight for resources and train elves. Kami during this period, Squirtle has evolved into Kami Squirtle, and its strength has reached the middle stage of ordinary. After Zhang Xingyun spent a lot of resources, its qualifications have reached light blue. This kind of paper Pokémon is sure to be the king, and the championship is also expected. Name, Squirtle, male, attribute, water qualification, light blue features, torrent strength, normal midterm skills, impact, tail shake, rocket headbutt, shell shrinking, water gun, wave missile, bubble ray, water wave, shadow clone, freezing punch, blizzard. And the young Kyrus and the baby dragon have not evolved yet. The young Kyrus strength has reached the normal midterm, while the baby dragon is a little slower, and its strength has only reached the normal early stage. Now, Zhang Xingyun's team has achieved the normal level of the whole team. Of course, the three little ones have only improved, and Nidorino has also made great progress. Zhang Xingyun's return this time is also related to Nidorino. Nidorino's fire is enough, and it has reached the conditions for evolution. In Zhang Xingyun's system, the top moonstone has been exchanged long ago. But after careful calculation, the system has come up with a set of Nidorino evolution plans, which can allow Nidorino to evolve to the greatest extent, and get the greatest benefits. Zhang Xingyun looked at the time. It was 6:30 in the afternoon, and it was dark. Now he was preparing the items for evolution. He cleared a space on the training ground, made a stone pot, and was stirring the purple viscous substance. The purple viscous substance gave off a smell, but it was not stinky. Instead, it had a faint smell of rock and soil. Reality is still reality. In the evolution of Anim, the Pokémon evolves as soon as the evolution stone is touched. As for the evolution of Nidorino, I have to prepare this and that. I'm so tired. Come over here, Electabuzz, and help stir it. This is what your big brother Nidorino needs. Hey boo hey boo. When Electabuzz heard Zhang Xingyun calling it, it stood up to help stir it. Electabuzz, whose strength has reached the ordinary late stage, is still very energetic when doing the work. Zhang Xingyun also stepped back and fiddled with other things. Of course, the things he prepared were not only the essence of Woo Earth that was being stirred, but also other things. Young Kyrus and the others were all helping. In reality, the evolution of elves is very complicated. Of course, it is also possible to let Nidorino touch the evolution stone like in the anime, but Zhang Xingyun is not satisfied. He wants to make Nidorino evolve to the greatest extent, no matter how troublesome it is. This is also the reason why Zhang Xingyun complained about the anime. Nidorino, come and drink these 2 potions. Zhang Xingyun took out a grey-brown potion and a purple-black potion and asked Nidorino to drink them. These two potions are not cheap. For example, the purple potion contains a lot of toxin essence of some poisonous algae dragons. After drinking the potion, Nidorino was asked to adjust his state on the side. Zhang Xingyun fiddled with the machine, and soon the moon came out. The hazy moonlight sprinkled on the earth. This was the time Zhang Xingyun said. Zhang Xingyun used his supernatural power to paste the essence of Wu Earth on the surface of Nidorino. Now Nidorino seemed to have fallen into a pile of mud. Nidorino's full voice came, indicating that it was ready. Okay. After hearing Nidorino's voice, Zhang Xingyun took out a moonstone from the system. Holding it in his hand, the moonstone radiated soft moonlight, and he could also sense the huge energy contained in the moonstone. As soon as he took it out, Nidorino roared. Nidorino stared at the moonstone in Zhang Xingyun's hand with his eyes, and the cells in his body were urging him to touch the moonstone quickly. The moonstone was attracting him, and he was eager to devour the energy of the moonstone, which came from the memory hidden deep in the blood of the Nido family. Nidorino quickly came to his senses. He was attracted by the moonstone just now, and now he has recovered. Fang Zheng also believed that this was prepared by Zhang Xingyun for him. Zhang Xingyun placed the moonstone on Nidorino's head. Evolve, Nidorino. Chapter 186 Nidoking. As soon as the moonstone came into contact with Nidorino, a white light of evolution appeared on Nidorino's body. The figure in the white light was changing. Nidorino, who was squatting, slowly stood up. His height and body shape were changing. Come on, Nidorino. Try your best to absorb energy and complete the evolution. Zhang Xingyun shouted at Nidorino in the white light. Nido. The moonstone melted faster like a piece of ice. Now it was gone, turning into streams of energy and entering Nidorino's body. The energy in the Wutu on the surface of the body was also absorbed, and the remaining residue fell to the ground. Nido. The white light dissipated, and a burly figure appeared in front of Zhang Xingyun and the elves. Nidoking is purple, and has no spots on his body. Nidoking's most prominent feature is its large, sharp, and poisonous horn. It is a powerful offensive weapon. Nidoking's ears have small and sharp thorns on the edges, and the inside of the ears is green. Nidoking's eyes are in the shape of a triangle. The thorns on Nidoking's back are very large. Its tail is decorated with several fine stripes. Its chest and abdomen are grey and white. It looks ferocious and ferocious. Hahaha, now I should call you Nidoking. Looking at the purple giant in front of him, Zhang Xingyun smiled, walked up and stood in front of Nidoking. Nidoking also responded. This voice sounded a bit fierce and violent to outsiders, but in Zhang Xingyun's ears, it was the most intimate voice. Finally evolved, and the strength has reached the elite level. Zhang Xingyun looked at Nidoking, and his thoughts drifted away. In July, he had nothing at that time, his family was destroyed, and he was alone and helpless. His first partner was the Nidoking in front of him. Now, the Nidolang who used to shout "Ella" at his feet, has become the mighty and burly Nidoking in front of him. Okay. Zhang Xingyun smiled, and a large amount of energy was fed back from the link, making him feel warm, and his supernatural power also improved a lot, reaching the peak of the ordinary level. Using the system scan, the data of Nidoking at this time was obtained. Name, Nidoking attributes, poison, ground qualification, deep blue characteristics, forced strength, elite initial skills, staring, horn butt, poison needle, gathering energy, digging holes, double kick, stinky mud bomb, help, shadow clone, 100,000 volts, sharp stone attack, fierce toxin, water wave, self-sacrifice collision, hold, make a big trouble. Mount A overthrow, destroy death light. The qualification has also reached the deep blue color, and everything Zhang Xingyun has done is still useful. Hey boo hooah yao GB. The elves all gathered around and started to communicate. The current Nidoking has reached a height of 2 meters, far exceeding the Nidoking of the same kind. The energy fluctuations on his body are also very stable, unlike the elves who have just entered the elite level. I know that Nidoking in the game is 1.4 meters tall. I think that in reality, a 1.4 meter Nidoking is too short, so I made some changes. After all, this is a realistic article. Hassan Mantis looked at the successfully evolved Nidoking and felt the energy fluctuations on his body. He felt itchy for a while and communicated with Zhang Xingyun. Mantis, do you mean to have a fight with Nidoking? How about Nidoking? Do you want to experience it? Nidoking roared back, looking at Mantis with fighting intent in his eyes. Okay, everyone, make way for a while. Nidoking and Mantis are going to have a fight. Hearing Zhang Xingyun's words, all the elves walked aside and made way for Mantis and Nidoking. Zhang Xingyun also walked behind Nidoking and said, Mantis, I will command Nidoking later and use spirit possession. Hassan Mantis indicated that he knew and said that there was no problem. Then let's begin the sparring. Hassan Nido. As soon as the words fell, the giant claws disappeared from the spot and appeared on the left hand side of Nidoking, with a giant claw glowing and attacking. Bang! The alloy claws of the giant claws collided with Nidoking's freezing fist, and for a moment, they were deadlocked and wrestled. Nidoking would not be a coward in a wrestling match. You can tell by its size. In this regard, it is far from being comparable to the giant claws, even though the giant claws are in the late elite stage, and Nidoking is in the early elite stage, although it has been enhanced by the spirit possession technique. Hassan the giant claws were repelled by Nidoking, and it did not take advantage of this move. The giant claws attack mainly depends on speed, and its strength is not as good as that of the newly evolved Nidoking. The giant claws jumped up and released high-speed stars at Nidoking. Nidoking also intercepted the attack under the command of Zhang Xingyun. Sizzle, a freezing ray shot towards a suspended Mantis. Hassan many Mantis suddenly appeared on the field, and the freezing ray kept shooting in one direction. Mantis also knew that its shadow clone was not very useful, and then moved at high speed and rushed towards Nidoking. Nidoking, use the power of the earth behind you. Nidoking stomped his foot on the ground, and a wall of earth rose from the pile of earth behind Nidoking. Bang! The wall of earth that had just risen was hit by the Mantis moving at high speed. Double kick. Nidoking ran towards the attacking Mantis, then jumped and kicked with both feet. With Nidoking's current size, the power of this double kick would be quite large. Bang! Nidoking couldn't kick the Mantis and stepped on the original position of the Mantis, making a muffled sound between the ground and Nidoking. Nidoking, Iron Tail attack. Zhang Xingyun also knew that this double kick would not hit the giant claws Mantis, so he was prepared. Sure enough, when Nidoking landed, the giant claws Mantis quickly moved to the side of Nidoking and swung a bullet fist, and Nidoking's Iron Tail arrived at the same time. Bang! The tall Nidoking was smashed into the air by the giant claws Mantis, and Nidoking's Iron Tail also hit the giant claws Mantis. The two sides pulled away and looked at each other. In this battle, the giant claws Mantis still had some advantages, but under the command of Zhang Xingyun, it was impossible for the giant claws Mantis to take down Nidoking in a short time. It was harder to fight than the elite elves in the wild. Nidoking is not comparable to those elite elves in the wild. Nidoking has been carefully cultivated by Zhang Xingyun and has been trained in all aspects from close combat to long-range attack. The speed that the giant Mantis relied on could also make Nidoking react under the guidance of Zhang Xingyun's ability. Therefore, the effect of the giant Mantis's speed was greatly reduced. Chapter 187, Discussion. The third one from the left, Shadow Ball. Hassan after dodging Nidoking's Shadow Ball, Mantis used a cross scissors and swooped down. Nidoking, spray flames. Nido, a scorching flame sprayed at the charging Mantis. Hassan Mantis naturally wouldn't take it head on, and with a flick of its figure, it was at another location. It released a high-speed star. It will be there on the left, and then spray flames. After the sprayed flames collided with the high-speed star, it caused bursts of black smoke. When the black smoke dissipated, it was seen that Nidoking and Mantis were both condensing the destruction and death light, but they were not ready to fire. Okay, this competition ends here. If you keep fighting, the house will be demolished. Seeing that the two Pokémon were about to use the powerful destruction and death light, Zhang Xingyun quickly called a halt. Now, the place where the two fought on the training ground was a mess, with potholes and bumps, which was the masterpiece of the two. If they were allowed to fight, this house would really be demolished. Of course, Nidoking and Mantis also knew this, so they would sometimes hold back during the battle. Nidoking has been able to withstand Mantis's attack until now, which is good enough. although it was with the help of Zhang Xingyun, the trainer and the Pokémon R1. Nidoking's combat power was still beyond Zhang Xingyun's expectations. It has reached such a level just after evolution. Of course, there are still some shortcomings. After the two Pokémon stopped, Zhang Xingyun took out the medicine and applied it to the two Pokémon. After applying the medicine, Zhang Xingyun found that Nidoking's injuries were more and more serious than those on Mantis. Hassan Mantis walked to Zhang Xingyun's side and called out with some confusion. It was asking how Zhang Xingyun predicted where it would appear just now. This is the result of my calculation, based on your daily habits and the time when we usually fight against each other. This is a probability problem, but I calculated it correctly. This is also the responsibility of our trainers. Sometimes we can defeat the enemy and win based on these. In response to the question of the giant claw, Zhang Xingyun also gave an explanation. Hassan, after listening to Zhang Xingyun's words, the giant claw walked to a tree beside the training ground and lay on it, not knowing what it was thinking. It may be that Nidoking has just entered the elite level. In the past 20 minutes, its late elite strength has not been able to defeat Nidoking. Hey boo, the electric beast below held a bottle of beer, shouted to the giant claw, and threw it to it. Hey boo, Hassan, the two Pokémon drank beer. As for drinking beer, Electabuzz learned it from Zhang Xingyun. After Electabuzz and Gigantus became familiar with each other, Electabuzz gave Gigantus a bottle of beer once, and found that Gigantus also liked to drink beer, so the two of them often got together to drink beer. Hassan, electric beast, do you think that after the trainer's blessing, the Pokémon will really become that much stronger? Hey boo, I don't know about other trainers. I follow the boss, and after his spirit possession and combat guidance, I can fight with elite level Pokémon. This is my answer. Hey boo, the boss is also very good to us. You can see that the tactical guidance, resources, etc. are all sufficient. I'm also fortunate to be his Pokémon. Hassan, he is an excellent trainer. Hey boo, why don't you join us? We are familiar with each other and have been protected by you. You have also seen the boss's current level. He can really help you, Hassan, but I was sent by the government to protect him. Hey boo, if you want, Zhang Xingyun will help you solve it. In short, please trust the boss and think about it carefully. After Electric Beast finished speaking, he put away the empty beer bottle, left the giant claw mantis, came to a place that was not damaged, and started training. After hearing this, the giant claw mantis looked at the sky, not knowing what he was thinking. Zhang Xingyun also saw this scene. The fact that the electric beast said this was also due to his hint. After this period of time together, Zhang Xingyun admired the giant mantis very much. At the beginning, when they were not very familiar with each other, the giant mantis was a little cold, but later, they became more and more familiar with each other, actively sharing combat experience. Sometimes, after watching Zhang Xingyun train the elves, he would go to train on the side. Sometimes, if he didn't understand, he would ask Zhang Xingyun. It can be seen that the giant mantis has some desire to become stronger. So Zhang Xingyun moved his heart to conquer the giant mantis. As for strength, to be honest, it only takes time for Zhang Xingyun to reach the elite late stage. The qualification of the giant mantis is light green, and generally speaking, the Quasi-King is the end. Zhang Xingyun wants to train the giant mantis. Zhang Xingyun is very confident that he can raise its qualification to Cyan and help it go further. The giant mantis has protected them several times, and Zhang Xingyun also admires it very much. It would be great if Mantis could become a partner. Now Zhang Xingyun's Nidoking has also reached elite strength, and according to the rules of the Guardian Spirit, it is about to be handed over. If Mantis is unwilling to follow him, then he will help Mantis upgrade to deep green qualifications and give some skills and guidance as a way to repay Mantis's kindness to him during this period of time. Nidoking, make this venue flat again. Nidoking use the rich earth energy in his body to smooth out the originally bumpy ground. Flower under the ability of Flower Leaf. Tender shoots grew on the flat ground and also grew into grass, and soon it became a green lawn. Although Flower Leaf is a fairy type elf, it is also proficient in these grass type energies, and it is not difficult to grow some flowers and plants. Zhang Xingyun saw that after the venue was restored, some elves were lying down and some were training. He didn't say anything and went into the room and turned on the TV to watch. Tonight, the electric beasts did not watch TV, but trained. So he watched TV. It was a pastime. It happened that the news on TV was about something that happened near Changning City. This caught Zhang Xingyun's attention. Is another secret realm descending? Why are there more and more secret realms descending in recent years? A few days ago, a secret realm descended in the vicinity of Changning City and Awan City. The place where it descended was a small county town. Unlike the last time, there were no major casualties. Instead, there were many casualties and property losses. This time, the secret realm that descended had many king-level elves, and the county town's garrison was not very sufficient, so it developed like this. Chapter 188 heading. As soon as the secret realm descended, the government's army and relevant departments took action. Several nearby kings rushed over as quickly as possible, but they were still a little late. Most of the elves that descended would be violent and bloodthirsty, attacking any living creatures they saw. Humans were very disadvantaged in this chaotic scene. This was not a battle. The violent elves would not abide by the rules. They would attack whenever they got the chance, and it would be too late for the trainers elves to be saved. Now several kings are still fighting in that secret realm. The host in the news is calling on the vast number of trainers to go to this secret realm to hunt elves and assist the military. Participants have generous rewards. Seeing the news broadcasting the people affected by the disaster, Zhang Xingyun couldn't help but clench his fists because he remembered himself in the past. At this moment, Zhang Xingyun made a decision. He planned to go to the secret realm tomorrow to hunt elves and seize resources. Now, in Zhang Xingyun's hands, Nidoking is in the early elite stage, and Mantis will also help. After being possessed by spirits, Pidgeot can also be regarded as an elite combat force. Roughly speaking, he has 3 elite fighters, and he himself is a capable person. As long as he doesn't commit suicide, there will generally be no big problems. The probability of rare treasures appearing in the newly descended secret realm is also the highest. Young Kyrus was obtained in the secret realm where he descended in the Cloud Star Forest. Who knows, there may be other treasures. And according to the previous handling methods, the government must drive the elves to a place farther away from the city. In this secret realm, there are many kings, and it is not easy to drive them away. Therefore, the media and relevant departments encourage trainers to go there, and the government has also opened up many rare treasures and pressure cells to stimulate the enthusiasm of trainers. Ding ding ding, the message on the mobile phone rang. Zhang Xingyun picked it up and took a look. It was the recruitment information to go to the secret realm called A96. In the information, the direct trainers of Changning City were recruited to go to the A96 secret realm, whether they hunt by themselves or participate in military operations. However, you can choose not to accept this call. If it affects Zhang Xingyun, he doesn't know. Anyway, Zhang Xingyun has to go there, so he immediately clicked on the link and accepted the call. However, Zhang Xingyun chose to hunt freely in the A96 secret realm. At that time, he can show the elves or materials he got to receive the reward. After Zhang Xingyun responded to the call, the official sent some information about this newly arrived secret realm. There was a simple map with some information marked on it. Well, it's good. With these materials, I don't have to start from scratch. The next day, after Zhang Xingyun was ready, he drove a motorcycle and went straight to the newly arrived secret realm. Zhang Xingyun considered looking for Fang Hongjian and others. They were also direct descendants, but considering their strength, he simply gave up. In terms of strength, only Nangang Yao could form a team. Zhang Xingyun also contacted Nangang Yao, but he couldn't contact her. During the days when Zhang Xingyun spent the night in the wild, he received several missed calls from Nangang Yao, but this time Zhang Xingyun went deep into the forest, where the signal was not good, and the mobile phone was not very useful. Zhang Xingyun drove an off-road motorcycle, and rushed all the way. He would not dare to do this in his previous life, but now he dares to do it, because he has supernatural powers and the energy feedback of the elves, and his physical fitness is particularly strong. Zhang Xingyun stopped at a checkpoint and several staff members stopped him. Hello sir, the secret realm that has just arrived is very dangerous. If you don't have 3 elves with ordinary combat power, please return the same way, a staff member said, after stopping Zhang Xingyun. Their duty is to persuade some passionate but insufficient young people to go to the A96 secret realm. After all, many young people will spontaneously go to the secret realm after seeing the news, but they are not strong enough. It is for this reason that the government has set up checkpoints to persuade these passionate young people to go back, so as not to lose their lives, which is not beautiful. Hello, comrade. This is my ID card. This is my elf undertaking. I have the strength of an early elite. I have enough strength to go to the A96 secret realm. Zhang Xingyun took out his ID card and released undertaking to prove his strength so as not to be stopped by the staff. When looking at the ID card and elf shown by Zhang Xingyun, a staff member used a machine to scan Zhang Xingyun's ID card and then opened the checkpoint and watched Zhang Xingyun leave with admiration. Pippy bird, come out and follow me. After leaving the checkpoint, the road was full of potholes. The original asphalt cement road surface was damaged and dilapidated and overgrown with weeds. It should be the masterpiece of a grass type elf. Grass type elves like natural forests very much, and they hate some modern asphalt cement and other things. Most of the road damage in China every year is caused by these wild grass type elves. According to the information, the territory ahead is the Venus flytrap, but there is no description of its strength. Generally speaking, the strength of this tribe should not be strong, otherwise it would not be here. After leaving the checkpoint for a while, Zhang Xingyun stopped the car, looked at his phone, and analyzed. He took out a sticker with the direct lineage logo and pasted it on the combat uniform on his chest, which has a lot of uses. Zhang Xingyun's current position is considered to be the rear of the elves' advent, which is considered the outer circle, while the center of the advent and the inner circle have military personnel. Along the way, I also saw many large pickup trucks carrying people back to Changning, and I also saw many trainers riding vehicles or elves to the mission site, most of whom were participating in military operations. Zhang Xingyun chose free hunting, so he groped his way to the military camp from the small road. The energy contained in the air brought by the newly descended secret realm is more concentrated than outside. The Venus flytrap tribe still has a lot of good stuff. This is it, and there's no one around here. He parked the motorcycle and put it into the storage backpack. Zhang Xingyun was not short of money now, and he also had a few storage tools, so he put the motorcycle directly into the space backpack. He took back the flying Pidgeot, disappeared from the spot in a flash, and appeared on the trunk of a big tree the next moment, rushing inside. He had to investigate the situation of this tribe first, and then plan how to fight. He could move instantly, and cover up his breath. Except for the quasi-king elves, they could detect him. The elite elves, except for a few special elves, could not find him. Zhang Xingyun saw a bloody scene. Chapter 189, Fierce Battle with Venus. In Zhang Xingyun's field of vision, there were a dozen Venus flytraps, eating people. The Venus flytraps in the middle, which was somewhat elite in the early stage, was chewing at this moment, and then spit out some blood-stained clothes. The other Venus flytraps on the field were also chewing things. Looking at their positions on the ground, there were human clothes and elf fur. The mouth-slow flower and the trumpet bud took root in the ground, absorbing the blood on the field, and also made a cheerful moo sound. The eyes of these elves were a little red, and it was certain that they were elves descended from the secret realm. Zhang Xingyun, who saw this scene, decided to capture this group later, leaving no one alive, and dissecting them all into materials. This scene happened many times in the wild. Some elves in this world eat people, but they are not like in anime. 2 are elite in the early stage, and the rest are ordinary level, with a total of more than 40. Zhang Xingyun concluded the combat power of this group through observation, and inferred the approximate venue, based on the vines on the ground. After communicating with the Pokémon and the Pokéballs through telepathy, he went out to the tree trunk above the heads of the Venus flytraps, and released undertaking, and the others the next second. Bang! As soon as undertaking appeared, he stepped on an ordinary Venus flytraps on the ground, and then stomped on it, causing the Venus flytraps to die on the spot. The appearance of Nidoking made them all panic, and the two Venus Flitrops reacted quickly, attacking Nidoking with several vine whips like poisonous snakes coming out of a hole. Nidoking responded with a jet of flames, burning all the vine whips, and then with a freezing punch, he hammered away all the Venus Flitrops and Smurfs that were close to it. Pidgeot, help, you attack other Pokémons, be careful, and don't care if they live or die. Leaving Electabuzz and Floret to fight other Venus Flitrops and other Pokémon, he could also take care of the young Kyrus and the others. As for the leading Venus Flitrop, it would take some effort for Nidoking and Pidgeot to take down these two Venus Flitrop. Boom! Exclamation mark. It was a battle of destruction and death rays between Nidoking and Venus Flitrop, but Nidoking was more powerful. One was against Nidoking, and the other was against Pidgeot in the sky. Pidgeot's own strength was at the ordinary peak level. After being blessed by Zhang Xingyun's spirit attachment technique, the energy fluctuations on its body also reached the elite level, but it was not as strong as Nidoking. After Nidoking used the destruction and death ray, his body needed a few seconds of buffering time. The other Venus Flitrop took the opportunity to use the Leaf Storm and attack Nidoking in the buffer. Pidgeot's body surface was emitting flying energy. It met the Leaf Storm and directly tore the Leaf Storm into pieces and dived down. Bang! After Pidgeot fell, smoke and dust rose up. Pidgeot flew out of the smoke and dust and then connected with several air blades, scraping at the two Venus Flitrop. Venusaur managed to resist a bit, but was also hit by Pidgeot's air blade. The damage of the flying system is still very significant to Venusaur. In the game, it is twice the damage effect, and it is estimated to be similar in reality. Pidgeot had just finished the air blade, and Nidoking's two consecutive kicks hit it. Bang, bang, bang. The two Venusaur were kicked directly and hit the big tree behind, making a series of howling sounds. Pidgeot sent another brave bird, but the direction of the attack was not the to Venusaur, but the young Kyrus. At this moment, the young Kyrus was surrounded and beaten by two Venusaur and two Smurfs, and the situation was not good. This was not friendly to the young Kyrus, because they were still not friendly to the battle. The four Pokémon were hit by Pidgeot's brave bird. The four of them were not elite Venusaur. After being attacked, they all lay on the ground and lost the battle directly. Swish, two vine whips broke through the air, were blocked by Pidgeot's steel wings, and were connected by an air blade. Another Smurf lower lost its ability to fight. Nidoking used the power of the earth to trap the two of them. The land around the two Venus flowers began to wriggle, and four earth walls instantly rose up, trapping the Venus flowers inside. He increased his speed and rushed forward, his fists emitting icy cold air. Bang! The earth wall was naturally destroyed by the Venus flowers, and Nidoking also arrived beside the two, raised his frost punch, and rushed over. Nidoking fought two Venus flowers alone, not at all weak, and even suppressed the two Venus flowers. The attacks of the Venus flowers, vine whips and other attacks hit Nidoking's body, but it didn't seem to cause much damage to Nidoking. Nidoking had thick skin and flesh, and this level of attack only caused it some superficial injuries. Bang! A frost punch interrupted the Venus flower's leaf storm, and then a iron tail interrupted another Venus flower that was condensing a destructive death light, turning around and kicking another Venus flower away. Then, he instantly condensed a destructive death ray and attacked the Venus flower head on. Boom! The Venus flower hit by Nidoking's destructive death ray was thrown backwards like a rag, and after hitting many tall and thick trees, it lay on the ground, with hot smoke still coming out of its body, and it had lost consciousness. Swoosh, 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 a storm of flying leaves hit the stiff Nidoking, causing Nidoking to suffer a lot of damage. Nidoking recovered, smiled grimly at the Venus flower that took the opportunity to sneak attack it, and punch the ground with one fist. A crack on the ground went towards the Venus flower, and bang, the Venus flower was blown up. The Venus flower stretched out its vine whip, tied up several nearby trees, and let itself land slowly. As soon as it landed, the sound of Nido appeared behind it. After blowing the Venus flower away, Nidoking came to the Venus flower's foothold after Zhang Xingyun's instant movement. Moo. Venus flower was panicked, while Nidoking laughed, but his laugh was a bit ferocious. He pressed Venus flower down with a mountain of pressure, and then followed up with a freezing punch, which turned into a fire punch, making Venus flower feel the double world of ice and fire. A scorching flame hit Venus flower. Move and Nuzflower screamed and fell into a coma in the flames. Nidoking, put an end to it. Super Horn attack. Nido with a puff. The sharp horns on Nidoking's head pierced Venusflower's body. The unconscious Venusflower twitched a few times and then lost its breath of life, becoming a cold corpse. On the other hand, Electabuzz and the others had almost defeated the elves in this tribe. Some of them just lost their ability to fight, and some of them had no breath of life. Hey buu Electabuzz used a Fire Fist to kill the last Slowpoke. This battle ended with Zhang Xingyun's victory. Nidoking and the others were injured, with Baby Kyrus and Baby Dragon being more seriously injured. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190 Seeking Help. In the battle just now, Zhang Xingyun was also attacked, and the shield he condensed was shattered several times, and his hands were only slightly broken. However, thanks to the help of the elves such as Pidgeot, the young Kyrus and the baby dragon did not lose their fighting ability. Even though they are quasi-god elves with super high qualifications, they will be in danger of defeat when facing enemies 4 or 5 times their number. Puff. A lot of blood splashed from the body of the Venus flycatcher, some splashed on Zhang Xingyun's telekinetic shield, and some splashed on the ground. This is Zhang Xingyun holding a sharp dagger, decomposing the body of the Venus flycatcher, and the decomposed Venus flycatcher twitched a few times due to nerve reaction, and then it lost its breath. Not only Zhang Xingyun was decomposing, but the elves were also decomposing, but the decomposition was not as delicate as Zhang Xingyun's. Flower Huayidi dug out a green ball from the elite Venus flycatcher, and after getting Zhang Xingyun's consent, she absorbed it. The green light ball was condensed from the life source of the Venus flycatcher, which had many benefits for Huayidi. Young Kyrus also took a bite of flesh, chewed it a few times, and spit it out, while the baby dragon chewed it and swallowed it without spitting it out. Although it is bloody for elves to eat elves, it is also normal. Zhang Xingyun also agreed that they occasionally eat meat. The strong prey on the weak. This is the eternal law of the forest. And this tribe is worthy of breeding 2 elite level Venus Flitrops and has abundant resources. After Zhang Xingyun packed up the elf materials, he used his supernatural power to look for treasures everywhere and got a lot of participation from poison and grass systems. After cleaning up the battlefield, Zhang Xingyun left here, found a secret place, and rested. First, he helped young Kyrus and the others to apply medicine, and Huayidi also used the healing skill to help the elves heal. It also healed the broken skin on Zhang Xingyun's hand. This made Zhang Xingyun feel the benefit of conquering Huayidi at the beginning. His ability also has a healing effect, but in the wild, he let Huayidi help with the treatment. A Pokeball on Zhang Xingyun's belt moved, and then the giant claw appeared. Hassan the giant claw meant that it could come out if there was a battle, and it could obey Zhang Xingyun's command. Okay, giant claw, but for this scale, let Nidoking and the others come. This kind of actual combat effect is extremely good. Next time there is a high-end one, I will let you come. After listening, the giant claw nodded, appeared on a tree, and became alert. Zhang Xingyun knew that he was almost taming the giant claw. The giant claw indicated that it could be commanded to fight, perhaps to test whether it could get along with Zhang Xingyun, which was also a test. Zhang Xingyun was certainly not afraid of this test, as his level as a trainer was also real, so he was not afraid of this. Young G, wow, you are hungry so soon, just fighting like this. Young Kyrus gestured with his claws, and Zhang Xingyun could understand what it meant. That is, it wanted to eat, saying that the body was a little painful in the previous battle, and it needed food to compensate. Here is your food compensation. Zhang Xingyun took out a few ores from his backpack, and handed them to little Kyrus, and then took out a few energy cubes, and handed them to little Kyrus. Baby dragon, your performance just now was also very brave. Here is also a reward for you. Zhang Xingyun praised baby dragon, holding a red fruit in his hand. This is the dragon blood fruit, which has many benefits for dragon elves. Belly Baby Dragon was very happy to hear Zhang Xingyun's praise. He stretched out his claws, took the dragon blood fruit handed over by Zhang Xingyun, and began to chew it, sucking the juice of the fruit. Nidoking and others also supplemented some food. In the wild, eating is not stable. Whenever you are free, you eat some food. Because you don't know when you will have time to eat next time. Once, there was no rest for 7 or 8 hours, and as soon as you landed, you were attacked by elves. Zhang Xingyun also ate some food, drank a few sips of water, and sat aside to regulate his breath. Rumble. After a while, Zhang Xingyun felt the fluctuation of fighting in the north of his position, a certain distance away from him. This kind of noise should be a battle of the king level. Zhang Xingyun opened his eyes and muttered. After putting away his things, he left the resting place, took out his mobile phone, and rushed to Lijiang County where the secret realm descended. After walking for a while, he came across a small pond. The pond was quiet. Zhang Xingyun saw this, and avoided it from a distance. It was so quiet that there must be something fishy. His water-type combat power, Card Squirtle, was still an ordinary midterm, so forget it. He could also take down the elite combat power, but the noise caused was still quite large. After thinking about it, it was a bit thankless. At the place where Zhang Xingyun left after a few instant teleportations, some Pokémon specifically squatted at the water source, waiting for prey. It was just that Zhang Xingyun moved a few times, and they lost the trace of Zhang Xingyun, otherwise they would definitely pounce on him. Is there anyone? Help. There were 2 women and 1 man, running and calling for help. The 3 of them were wearing the same style of clothes with the words Changning on them. This was the trainer clothes of Changning University. At this time, there was a big armor following behind the 3. There was still some blood and flesh on Dajia's teeth, and he chased with a ferocious face. The 3 of them ran in a panic. Wangchang, Kunning, you 2 go first. I'll hold you back first. You 2 help me take this backpack. Time is running out. A boy threw the backpack to his companion and then shouted. Class monitor, don't go. Let's go together. You will die. Liu Kunning shouted. Hurry up. It will be too late if we don't leave now. Please tell my parents that I'm sorry to them, lie to them, and say it's a club activity. You 2 hurry up. After Zhang Li finished speaking, he threw the backpack to one of the boys, and then threw out an elf. An elite early stage Thunder Elf appeared at the scene, and the Thunder Elf looked seriously injured. Then 1 person, and 1 elf went to meet Dajia. Kunning, you go too. I'll go to help the class monitor. You take these things. Hurry up. After Wang Chang threw some things to Liu Kunning, he also called out the elf, and rushed to Dajia. At this time, the big armor was only more than 20 meters away from Zhang Li. Suddenly, Zhang Xingyun appeared in the middle, followed by Nidoking. The 2 people who originally wanted to be the last one to leave stopped, with a look of joy on their faces. Someone came to save them, and now they didn't have to die. The leader still rushed over with the elves. They could sense the energy fluctuations of Nidoking. They were 1 step behind the big armor, but with their help, it was not difficult to retreat. Brother, this big armor has the strength of the elite mid-stage. Let's join forces. Admi. Wang Chang shouted with an ordinary late-stage Iron Palm warrior. You haven't left yet. Hey, why would I leave? Don't stand here. Go away. Your elves are all seriously injured. Zhang Xingyun turned around and said to the 2. PS. 3 updates today. Please give good comments, urge videos, and send gifts with love to support the author. Chapter 191 Defeat the Elite Armor. Bang. Nidoking and the big armor exchanged punches, each retreating a few steps. This time, the attack was evenly matched. This big armor is quite something. Seeing the performance of the big armor, Zhang Xingyun murmured, and scanned the big armor with the system. Name, big armor, male, attribute, bug characteristics, overconfidence qualification, dark green strength, elite midterm skills, cut, gather, chop, earth throw, revenge, bodybuilding, shadow clone. This big armor is pretty good, no wonder it can chase these 3 people. While Zhang Xingyun was observing the data of the big armor faced Nidoking again, and fought a fist to flesh battle. The big armor waved the true key fist, and collided with Nidoking. In terms of boxing, it was better than Nidoking. Kaka, the two big horns on the big armor's head clamped towards Nidoking. Nidoking exerted force, pulled away, and swung an iron tail over. In that case, use the spirit attaching technique. Nido after being amplified by the spirit attaching technique, Nidoking roared and collided with the Dagia that was coming towards him. This time, he actually pushed the Dagia forward. So strong, and he's a capable person. Zhang Li said as he looked at Nidoking, who was still not at a disadvantage in the fight with Dagia, and Wang Chang beside him nodded in agreement. Seeing that Nidoking could stop Dagia, the two of them breathed a sigh of relief and followed Zhang Xingyun's words and didn't get involved. Now their elves were still seriously injured. If they got involved, they might end up making things worse and dragging their feet. Squad leader, Wang Chang, what should we do now? Liu Kaining came over. Just now, when Wang Chang was running back, she looked back and saw Zhang Xingyun appear out of thin air with the Nidoking by his side, and she felt that they were saved. Let's stay here first and see if there's anything we can do to help, Zhang Li said. Will this squad leader? No, look at the logo on his combat uniform. It's the logo of the government's direct line. It shouldn't be. There is a weak signal here. I have just asked the instructor for help. He is on the way. I believe he will arrive soon. Liu Kaining said. That's good. Let's go and deal with those ordinary level elves. It's considered to be a help. The battle between Nidoking and Dagia attracted the attention of the nearby elves, and there were several ordinary level elves on the field, which came over. Zhang Xingyun was originally going to let young Kiris and the others come out, but after seeing the three of them take the initiative to stop the ordinary level elves, he didn't care and concentrated on fighting Dagia. At this time, Dagia's head clamped Nidoking's fist with two pincers, and Nidoking saw this, changed his fist into a chop, and shook Dagia's pincers with clever force, and split Dagia horizontally with a tile chopping, and then a rock collapse instantly formed in front of Nidoking, smashing into Dagia. Boom, the whole rock was smashed into rubble by Dagia, causing a burst of smoke and dust. The armor was hit by Nidoking, but it was still able to fight. Nidoking's arm, where the armor had just been clamped, was bleeding a little, and was also injured. Nidoking, Cold Spike. Combination skill. This book is a self-designed skill, not a skill in Pokémon. Nidoking stomped the ground, and dozens of pieces of soil flew up. Then, after being catalyzed by Nidoking's ground energy, a flash of cold air passed through, and instantly became cold and hard ice rocks. With a sweep of its thick tail, it shot at the armor from multiple angles. This was not a single attack like the rock collapse just now, but a multi-channel attack, which could attack the target within a certain range. After Nidoking used the Cold Spike, he moved instantly and appeared behind the armor, aiming a destructive death ray at the armor that was defending against the Cold Thorn. Whoosh! A powerful orange-yellow light accurately hit the armor. Bang bang bang. It also smashed many trees along the way. The armor was covered by these pieces of earth and wood, but Zhang Xingyun felt that the armor was still conscious. The sequelae of Nidoking's release of the destructive death ray were greatly weakened during the spirit attached effect. If he was in good condition, he could recover in 1 second, and then disappeared from the spot and appeared on the pieces of earth and wood covering the armor. With a sudden blow, he completely defeated the armor. Zhang Xingyun threw out a Pokeball, collected the armor, scanned it with his supernatural power, and took out medicine to treat Nidoking. After that, Zhang Li and the other three also dealt with the attacking ordinary Pokémon. The three of them walked over with the Pokémon and stood 3 meters in front of Zhang Xingyun. Thank you for your help, brother. Otherwise, we might be in danger of losing our lives today. May I ask your name, brother? I will definitely reward you handsomely when I return. By the way, let me introduce myself. I'm Zhang Li, the monitor of Class 2, the sophomore class of Changning. I come from the Zhang family of Changning. After the three of them stood still, Zhang Li said politely, "It's just a small favor. I have no ill intentions. My name is Zhang Xingyun. I'm currently studying in Class 20 of Changning number 9 Middle School. This is my student ID." Zhang Xingyun replied and took out his student ID to show them. But after seeing it, the three people opposite him secretly breathed a sigh of relief and looked much more friendly. "Hello, classmate Zhang. Thank you for your rescue. My name is Liu Kaining and his name is Wang Chang. By the way, the principal of Changning number 9 middle school is my great uncle. Liu Kaining explained with a smile. So you are the principal's niece's great granddaughter. Nice to meet you. Knowing that Liu Kaining was the niece of Principal Liu Ning, Zhang Xingyun became more friendly. It's not suitable to stay here for long. Do you want to go back to Lijiang County? If you can, let's go together. Zhang Xingyun looked at the remaining fighting power of the three and suggested. Well, we just have to go back to Lijiang County, but we have notified our mentor, and will be here soon. If it's convenient, classmate Zhang can also come with us. When we return to the county, let us repay him, Zhang Li said. Okay, then let's go along the road to Lijiang County first, and we can also meet your mentor. Okay. The four set off, and rushed to Lijiang County. After learning about Zhang Xingyun's background, the three also let down their guard. Because Zhang Xingyun had no motive to kill them, not to mention that, if Zhang Xingyun didn't take action just now, they would have died at the hands of Dejia, and perhaps only Liu Kaining could escape. The four chatted, while rushing on the road, and of course there were elves on guard. This time, the three of us were impulsive, and went deep into the forest. We didn't expect to encounter the great armor. My thunder elf was defeated and seriously injured. We also lost several elves. Sigh. When I think of this, I feel a little sorry for them for covering our retreat. Zhang Li's eyes flowed with tears when he said this. Presumably, the elves who were left behind must have a very good relationship with them. If they didn't have a good relationship with them, they wouldn't have covered their retreat. Chapter 192 Military Recruitment. My condolences. Zhang Xingyun didn't know what to say, so he just said his condolences. The few elves that were left behind paid the price for the recklessness of the three. Sacrifice and bloodshed are the main themes in the wild, not the situation where elves like Zhang Xingyun are just injured. Of course, Zhang Xingyun is cautious and has supernatural powers on weekdays. His survival ability in the wild is extremely strong, otherwise people with supernatural powers would not be envied. Zhang Li's lightning elf was covered with scars, so he took it back. Liu Kaining took the backpack, took out a elf bowl from it, and released a blue crocodile with less severe injuries. The four chatted for a few words and slowly moved towards Lijiang County. On the way back to Lijiang County, there was no attack from the elves, only the sound of rustling in the bushes on the side of the road. If there was no attack, Zhang Xingyun and others would not make trouble, and continued to walk. The sound of flapping wings came from a distance. Zhang Xingyun sensed that a powerful elf was approaching, and was about to remind it. Liu Kaining said in surprise, "Great, the teacher is here, and he is very close to us now. You can hear that this is the sound of the teacher's tropical dragon inciting us. It is reminding us. Great, the teacher has arrived." After saying that, Zhang Li took out a small gun from his backpack, walked out of a place without trees, and fired a shot at the sky. Bang, a signal sign was formed in the sky, and the tropical dragon also flew towards this side. On the back of the tropical dragon, there was also a middle-aged man with a handsome appearance and elegant temperament. Fluttering, he landed in front of Zhang Xingyun and the other four, and jumped off the back of the tropical dragon. "I'm glad you're all okay." Seeing that his three students were safe, Yu Yuanwen was relieved. After receiving the signal for help, he rushed over immediately, but because of the distance, it still took a lot of time. On the way, he was afraid that his three students would die at the hands of the elves. Although it was the student's own choice, and had little to do with him, as a teacher, if the students traveling with him were injured or killed, he would be responsible. "Teacher, you are here. We almost died. Fortunately, we met Zhang Xingyun, so we can see you here." The three of them came over and told Yu Yuanwen the whole story. "Thank you, classmate Zhang, for saving my students." After listening to the three people's story, Yu Yuanwen walked up to Zhang Xingyun and thanked him. "You're welcome. It's just a small favor." Yu Yuanwen chatted with Zhang Xingyun for a few words, and then invited him to ride on the tropical dragon and go back to Lijiang County together. Zhang Xingyun also agreed, so he rode on the tropical dragon and went back together. On the back of the tropical dragon, several people started chatting. Yu Yuanwen, as a teacher at Changning University, naturally knew Zhang Xingyun. Soon, Zhang Xingyun and others returned to Lijiang County. After the arrival of the Pokémon, many parts of Lijiang County were reduced to ruins. After the military and other trainers moved in, they established a temporary residence on the ruins. When they were approaching, a psychic energy swept by, and when they found Zhang Xingyun and others on the Pokémon, they ignored it. "We are here." Standing on the ground of Lijiang County, several people relaxed. Although the closer they were to Lijiang County, the lower the probability of being attacked by powerful elves, they still had to be vigilant. Now that they were back to the place, they could relax their vigilance. Zhang Xingyun said goodbye and left after repeated requests from Zhang Li and others. He rescued them for no purpose. Now that they were at the place, they wanted to say goodbye and leave. Seeing Zhang Xingyun like this, Zhang Li and others did not force him to stay, but left a contact number and invited Zhang Xingyun to visit their home if he was free. Zhang Li also took out a space backpack and handed it to Zhang Xingyun to thank him for his rescue. Zhang Xingyun refused several times, then accepted it and said goodbye and left. "This is a genius." Looking at Zhang Xingyun's back, Yu Yuanwen said. The three nodded and agreed. A high school student, the elves he cultivated are already elite level, and he is also a capable person. Judging from the fact that he saved 3 people, he is also a helpful trainer. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is a genius. Zhang Xingyun walked on the road and checked the space backpack that Zhang Li had given him. There were actually quite a few valuable items inside, including 2 high-level thunderstones, a high-level leaf stone, and several other precious treasures, which were worth about 8 or 9 million. Is this considered a reward for good people? Zhang Xingyun started the rescue not because he was greedy for rewards, but because he wanted to help if he could. He also wanted to find a suitable fighting Pokémon for undertaking. After asking for directions on the road, Zhang Xingyun came to the temporary office opened by the military in Lijiang County. He took out his own gains and handed them over to the military. There were also quite a few trainers who came to exchange their rewards, and they all crowded into the newly opened office of the military. The office was rebuilt, based on the original dilapidated building, and looked a bit simple. After queuing for a while, Zhang Xingyun did his business and came to a canteen opened by the military to eat. This canteen is to provide services to trainers who come to help, and the dishes are many and rich, and all free. After Zhang Xingyun got a bunch of food, he came to an open space, released the elves, and started eating. The government's efforts in disaster relief are still as generous as ever, Zhang Xingyun said, looking at the harvest on his mobile phone. In order to encourage trainers to come to the rescue, the government has also done a lot of work. It is also based on this that many trainers came. Of course, there are also trainers who volunteered to help. It was noon. After eating, Zhang Xingyun came to the residence built by the military and chose a room to rest. China has the nickname of infrastructure maniacs, especially during disaster relief. Some necessary buildings were built when the military arrived. Zhang Xingyun lay on the bed and rested. The residence is still quite simple. For example, the room where Zhang Xingyun lives is all Syrian style. Unlike the residence, the temporary hospital here has everything. This is in line with the usual practice of the military. Save when you should save and spend when you should spend, and spend money where it counts. After the elves came, the army was also the busiest group of people, going wherever they were needed. Ding dong ding dong. Zhang Xingyun's phone received a message. He opened it and saw the content of the message. Hello, Mr. Zhang Xingyun. Thank you for coming to Lijiang County. We need your assistance and have issued a conscription order to you. You are required to gather at Lijiang Square from the moment you receive this message. This was a message from the military. They had detected that Zhang Xingyun had arrived here and issued a conscription order to Zhang Xingyun. Chapter 193 Military Mission. If there was no such information, Zhang Xingyun would have gone hunting by himself. Now that the information has been sent, he has no choice but to go. After Zhang Xingyun packed up, he came to Lijiang Square. The original Lijiang Square was surrounded by high-rise buildings, but after the secret realm descended, it became a ruin. Now that the military has cleaned up, the ruins have been cleared, and it has become a large open space. When Zhang Xingyun arrived, there were already more than 300 people on the field. Zhang Xingyun is tall and his handsome face looks a little dark because he often goes out. He looks about the same as the young guys present. After waiting in the square for a while, a middle-aged soldier with a square face, a serious face, a military uniform, and an upright posture stood on a high place and said in a deep and powerful voice, "You can call me Iron Commander. Seeing that you can come here, I would like to thank you on behalf of the military. Now there is a task that requires your cooperation." The whole audience fell silent and looked at the soldiers on the high place. Let me reiterate, if you don't want to go this time, non-direct lineage members don't have to go, but direct lineage members must go. It's best to make a decision and don't quit halfway, which will affect the deployment. This mission is somewhat dangerous. The people in the audience gathered in groups of 3 or 5 and started to communicate. There were also 3 or 2 non-direct lineage members who left the square after hearing that there was danger and this level of conscription was not mandatory. Seeing some people leave, some left. There were also a few trainers who had just arrived. After listening, they stood there and waited for the follow-up. Seeing this, the Iron Captain on the high ground didn't say when and waited there for more than 2 minutes. Zhang Xingyun guessed that it was probably about the disaster relief. Even if he could leave, he would stay. At the beginning, he was also one of the victims and one of the people who were rescued. Now if he has the ability, he should contribute more. After a while, Captain Tai spoke again. Let me tell you about the mission. It is to help the remaining people in Dongjiang County next door to evacuate. You need to assist the army and escort these people to Daewon City and connect with the military over there. There will definitely be dangers along the way, so I need to collect your strength information for deployment and arrangements. If there are no problems, we will set off in an hour. Do you understand? Do you know clearly? I know. Clear. Zhang Xingyun reported his information to the young soldier, who came to collect it. The young soldier also signaled Zhang Xingyun to show the quarter code on his certificate. He wanted to scan it. Zhang Xingyun showed it without knowing what it was for. After scanning it, the young soldier walked to the next person. There are many reasons, so the military's conscription is divided into compulsory conscription and non-compulsory conscription. This time it is a non-compulsory conscription. In principle, it is okay if ordinary people don't go. Zhang Xingyun looked at the trainers on the field. There should be about 300 people coming and going. Under normal conditions, the army goes first, followed by the direct lineage, and then the trainers of ordinary status. If the situation is serious, all are compulsorily recruited and go together to cooperate with the military. This time, the direct lineage must go. While enjoying the various benefits brought by the status, it is also necessary to fulfill the obligations brought by this status. Half an hour later, Zhang Xingyun received an order on his mobile phone, which contained arrangements for him. Zhang Xingyun took a rough look and understood what to do. After a while, Zhang Xingyun put on a vest with the military logo and got on a military vehicle to Dongjiang County. Although Lijiang County was the main damage, Dongjiang County was still affected. Based on various reasons, the people of Dongjiang County had to be relocated. Zhang Xingyun's mission this time was to assist in the retreat. Soon Zhang Xingyun got on the military vehicle and rushed to the destination. There were 11 other people in the car, and the 12 people in the car were nearby when they performed the task. There were 4 veterans in the car, chatting with several people, explaining how to cooperate. We have 12 people, and we can be responsible for an effective protection line of 1 kilometer. There are 3 elite trainers in our car, including me, so we will line up every 3 people, divided into the front, middle, and back. An old soldier in the car said. His name is Jin Yingyi, a veteran who has served for 8 years and has 2 elite Pokémon. Okay. Everyone agreed because this proposal is very reasonable. Lijiang County was originally 80 kilometers away from Dongjiang County. After the secret realm descended and merged into Blue Star, it was stretched to 120 kilometers. Dongjiang County to Daewon City was originally more than 60 kilometers, but now it has become more than 100 kilometers. It took Zhang Xingyun and others an hour and a half to travel 120 kilometers. We were attacked by Pokémons on the way, and the road conditions were also bad. The high-level Pokémons on the road were cleared, but there were still many elite Pokémons. The secret realm has been descended for a few days, and some Pokémons have adapted and recovered their wits, but only a part of them. After the Pokémons descended, most cities have walls, and Dongjiang County naturally has them too. From the car, Zhang Xingyun saw the broken city wall in the distance. Many parts had collapsed. Every few distances, there was a trainer on duty. There were also flying elves on guard in the sky. Seeing the Jifang brand car that Zhang Xingyun and others were riding in, and there was not just one car, but a large army. The guards also breathed a sigh of relief. The top masters went to deal with the top elves. There were only a few quasi-top trainers in the county who were on guard against the quasi-top elves. There were other secret realms coming in the past few days. I heard that the champions were dispatched. Now that the large army has arrived, it means that they can also retreat. Everyone, follow the arrangements and act quickly. Where are the engineers? Follow me to restore the road conditions. There was a commander in the team making arrangements, including Zhang Xingyun. 3 Jifang brand cars came to Bluebird Street. They were responsible for the evacuation of the people in this area. Veteran Zhang Xingyun stepped forward and handed over to a gentle-looking man, and then arranged seats. It is meaningless that the elderly, children and pregnant women should take priority in the big car, and Zhang Xingyun and others, as well as the personnel stationed in Dongjiang County, a total of 50 people, have to escort more than 1,000 people to Daewon City. Which trainer is there? And if there is a normal level, can you come out to help escort? The elderly, children and pregnant women can sit in the military car, or you can drive the vehicle yourself and follow behind, but slow down. Besides, please don't panic if you encounter an attack. Jin Yingyi, Zhang Xingyun and others, holding a loudspeaker, shouted in the crowd. Thanks to the invention of space equipment, it is much easier. Long before Zhang Xingyun and others arrived, the staff of Dongjiang County had notified the residents to prepare. Arrange your belongings, hand them over to the staff for registration, and wait until Daewon City to return them. P.S. I wish you all a happy Mid-Autumn Festival and all the best. Today is still 3 updates. Chapter 194 Escorting the Masses. The 1,000 people in this area were all escorted by Zhang Xingyun and others. Among the more than 1,000 people, there were only more than 20 trainers. Only 5 of whom had ordinary combat power, and only 3 were willing to assist. The other 2 said they wanted to stay with their families. There were also several trainers with novice strength, but they were not allowed to participate. Jin Yingyi also notified them that this was voluntary and could not be forced. There were also some disputes in the middle, but they were all perfectly resolved. The military vehicle was modified. One could carry about 40 people, but it was a bit crowded. One was used to pick up and drop off pregnant women, and only carried 30 people. The last one was also full, so they had no choice but to find a vehicle on the spot, and the technicians modified it to accommodate the elderly, children, and pregnant women. There were also many people in the local area who had cars, so they drove themselves, motorcycles, cars, subs, etc. More than 1,000 people got on the car. Zhang Xingyun and others were waiting for the signal to set off. Hey, what is that Comrade Jin doing with an alakazam? Zhang Xingyun pointed to the other side and said to a soldier with an alakazam. Alakazam was holding a diamond-shaped crystal-like thing in his hand. Well, we are making a file. This place was attacked by elves the day before yesterday. The scene was recorded in the memory crystal with special ability and included in the file. The memory crystal is self-made and its function is similar to the flower of time. Hearing Zhang Xingyun's question, Jin Yingyi explained. Maybe this file should have a certain function, otherwise the military would not be able to do this. When Zhang Xingyun saw the memory crystal, he thought of the flower of time, which also has a similar function. It's quite magical. Of course it's magical. It seems to be made with a kind of flower of time, and then through the elves like a lachism, the scene that happened was recorded. Of course, this is also the reason why the surveillance here was destroyed. If there was, this would not be used. Record this. Maybe I can teach the new generation of students in the classroom, so that they know that this scene really happened. Jin Yingyi said with some regret. Well, our lives are hard earned. Zhang Xingyun also echoed. He also had an idea in his mind, which would allow him to take action more clearly. Soon, Jin Yingai's mobile phone rang, which was the signal for action. More than 50 fighters were on guard and escorted the crowd. Everything was arranged along the way. Zhang Xingyun's group was the second group. There was another group in front, and another group followed behind, and then one group after another. The crowd was like a long dragon, heading to Daewon City. Zhang Xingyun and several trainers released their Pokémon, and followed on the side. There were also several people sitting in the car. The speed was about 20 km/h, and Zhang Xingyun and others could naturally keep up with the physique. There were about 50 people, escorting more than 1,000 people, with a protection of 120. The proportion of people engaged in the trainer industry is not large. Although trainers have high incomes, they also have many risks, and resources, knowledge, and talents are all places that restrict civilian trainers. In recent years, after the conditions have been relaxed a lot, the government has gradually shifted resources to the poor side, and the effect cannot be seen in a short time. Not everyone has the luck and opportunities like Zhang Xingyun, and even if there are resources, they cannot be fully digested. The road ahead was opened by several quasi-king level masters, and the road was repaired by the engineering battalion, so the road was not very bumpy. The elves also contributed to this. The energy of elves in reality can be compared to some large machinery, but it is not as good to a certain extent. But now there is no need to consider other factors. As long as the road can be passed, there is no need to consider other factors. There will definitely be some movement during this migration, and it has attracted many elves, including some quasi-king elves. Some elves are gentle and leave after watching for a while others are brutal and rush out to hurt people, but they are all intercepted by the strong men in the army. In Zhang Xingyun's perception, there is a large group of giant bees flying towards them more than 30 meters away from them, and there are 3 giant bees with elite strength. There are more than 30 in this group. Once they are allowed to get close, the consequences will be very serious, and they must be stopped. There is a group of giant bees attacking more than 30 meters to the west. Be alert. Be alert. Zhang Xingyun shouted, and the trainers around him all looked to the west. They naturally believed Zhang Xingyun's words. During the chat, they also knew that he was a person with special abilities. What he said now was very credible. You guys hold on, I'll intercept it first. After saying that, he moved instantly and disappeared on the spot. While talking, the Beedrill came closer, and everyone heard the buzzing sound. Jin Yingai quickly made arrangements. Although the people were a little disturbed, they believed them. Not only the Beedrill attacked, but also other Pokémon attacked, including several elite ones. Jin Yingai and his companions also went to meet them. Among the 3 trainers, one stayed on guard and the other 2 went to intercept. Other cubes were also attacked. Some of those who were not attacked, while retaining their combat power, also supported nearby cubes. Claws, Nidoking, and Pidgeot, come out and kill them quickly. Nidopihas and Zhang Xingyun first attached his spirit to the claws, and fired a destructive ray of maximum power. While the claws paused, he attached his spirit to Nidoking again, and fired another destructive ray. Boom. Boom. The trees were broken in half, and the soil mixed with grass and leaves flew across. The leading Beedrill was still alert, and made some defenses in a very short time, but it was seriously injured, and lost 70% of its people. With 2 powerful ultimate moves, they played a great role. Pidgeot took this opportunity to fly above their heads, flapping its wings, and blowing a strong wind. The wind was whistling loudly, followed by a few space cuts, and then Brave Bird. Bang! After Pidgeot jumped out, there were still a few stubborn Beedrills on the field still resisting. They launched a counter-attack against Pidgeot, but they could not hit Pidgeot. A red figure suddenly appeared behind several Beedrills, and with a few metal claws, it killed the surviving Beedrills. Zhang Xingyun turned on the system, and put a few good Beedrills into the Pokéball, and ignored the rest. Then he put away the Pokémon, and the figure disappeared in a flash. From the time that Mantis and the others started to attack to the time that all the Beedrills were defeated, it took no more than 3 minutes. If it were normal, Zhang Xingyun would not let Mantis go out, but let Nidoking and the others fight, accumulate combat experience, and familiarize themselves with skills. Now this environment is obviously not suitable, and we can only fight quickly and decisively, and take down this group of Beedrills in a very short time. Chapter 195. On the way of retreat. When Zhang Xingyun returned to the car, the ordinary trainers beside him were all shocked. Solved. The young man beside him asked in disbelief. Zhang Xingyun just talked about Pokémon like Beedrill, and from his tone, he still sounded like an elite. It was incredible that Zhang Xingyun solved it so quickly. He knew that Beedrill was a group type Pokémon, and there would definitely be many Pokémon. Zhang Xingyun was able to solve it in such a short time, which made him feel the power of the ability user. Is this the power of the ability user? This sentence appeared in the young man's mind. Zhang Xingyun just replied solved without any extra explanation, because there was no need. The trainers beside him looked at Zhang Xingyun with respect. They naturally believed what Zhang Xingyun said. As for whether it was false, no one would think about it, because it was impossible. Besides, if what Zhang Xingyun said was false, then Beedrill would have arrived now, and at least the buzzing of its wings could be heard. And the loud noises just now were proof. Zhang Xingyun looked around, and found that the situation was not bad, but Zhang Xingyun, who went to intercept the elves, had not returned yet. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, Zhang Xingyun's military uniform was a little worn and dirty, and he returned to his original position. He also successfully intercepted the elves, captured an elite level elf, and repelled 2 elite level elves, and in such a short time, it was already considered acceptable. After Zhang Xingyun and Zhang Xingyun nodded, they appeared on the roof of the car, sat down, and sensed the spread in all directions. The army originally had radar equipment specifically for detecting elves, but it was not brought with them during the retreat, because there was no place to put it. There were not enough people in the car, and it could not be placed. There were also flying elves in the sky on guard, but some elves were small, and could be avoided by the trees on both sides. These elves, like Neera, were very dangerous in the wild, or in the forest environment, and must be guarded against. So Zhang Xingyun's role was still very important. The team still moved forward at a certain speed, sometimes slower, sometimes faster, depending on the situation in the front row. The busiest people were the ones in the front row, who had to open up a path at a very fast speed for the team behind them to move forward. Several Qua-seeking trainers were also running back and forth, and from time to time, several Qua-seeking Pokémons would appear, keeping them on guard. Fortunately, this route had been cleared by a king level expert, so they didn't encounter any king level strongmen along the way. Zhang Xingyun looked at the time. It was already 2:30 in the afternoon, and in December, the daytime was short, and at most at 6 o'clock, it would get dark, and enter the night. The danger level of the forest at night was even higher than that during the day. Now they had only walked 20 kilometers, and they were still more than 80 kilometers away from Daewon City. If they continued at this speed, they could still make it. Brother Jin, if we continue at this speed, we may not be able to reach Daewon City until it gets dark. Is there any support over there? It seems that they are opening up from there. Zhang Xingyun appeared beside Zhang Xingyun and asked. I'm afraid not. The situation there is tight. After all, they have been retreating for the past few days. A lot of manpower is needed. I'm sorry to bother you. Please pay more attention to the surroundings. Some elves in the sky can't be noticed. Zhang Xingyun replied. Well, I will. Zhang Xingyun could only return to the roof of the car and be on guard. It is still an optimistic estimate that we can arrive in 4 hours. If we really arrive in 4 hours, then it's fine. I'm afraid it won't happen. Once it gets dark, many problems will arise. For example, the headlights of many vehicles are broken. When there are more people, there will be more problems. This has problems, and that has problems. After an hour, the order to rest on the spot came. Because there was a pregnant woman who was about to give birth and an elderly person who was seriously ill on the way, the medical staff was also busy. There were also some people who needed to solve the 3 urgent needs. Zhang Xingyun and other trainers had to split up and create a venue for them to solve the 3 urgent needs. I hope everything will be fine. Zhang Xingyun looked at the crowd and murmured. This time, it was his first collective mission. He had a deep understanding of the people affected by the disaster. In the past, he was probably lying on a hospital bed and was taken back to Changning. The road was not necessarily better than now, and it might be worse. Along the way, Zhang Xingyun was still very respectful and responsible, and he was busy all the time. This environment made him feel compassion. Special situations are naturally handled specially. After resting for 20 minutes, the team set out again. Continue to move forward. While the people behind them rested, the engineers and trainers in the front row did not stop and continued to advance. This allowed the people behind to move forward faster. There were still bloodstains on the side of the road, some of which were human and some of which were elves. During the advancement, it was naturally impossible that there were no casualties, and several soldiers were sacrificed. There were many elves at the king level in this secret realm. After opening up this route, the military's king masters also drove away or killed the nearby king elves. The battle at the king level is naturally different from the elites, and it is very dangerous. As Zhang Xingyun walked along the way, he could vaguely sense the fluctuations of several battles of the heavenly kings coming from afar. After another hour, the retreating crowd left the trees and came to the rocky area. This was another new challenge. Compared with the forest, there were both advantages and disadvantages. Rumble, rumble, the ground began to make a sound. From a distance, it was the rolling of the rumble rocks, and it was also the sound of their activities. Quickly intercept them, the Pokémon with moisture characteristics. Hurry up. Several more vibrations came, and from the ground, several Onyx emerged, roaring at the crowd, and rushing directly over. There's Onyx, hurry. There's Diglett here. There's a rogue crocodile attacking. Encountered another large wave of Pokémon attacks, the extent of which was even greater than that encountered in the forest, and the trainers became busy again. They all went to fight. Most of the Pokémon living in this environment have a bad temper, so they will naturally not be polite to them. Boom, boom, boom. There were several explosions and several screams. Zhang Xingyun didn't know what was going on. He was holding two elite Onyxes and a group of moles. Roar above Onyx, the claw mantis appeared out of thin air and gathered its strength. A beam of destruction was directed at one of the Onyxes. The claw mantis glided to one side with the help of the wind. When another Onyx was about to attack the claw mantis, Nidoking suddenly appeared around the head of the Onyx. He raised his hand and threw a freezing punch. Chapter 196, Malayan Sacrifice. Nidoking's freezing punch directly hit Onyx, who wailed and fell to the ground, making a sound of heavy objects falling to the ground. Another instant movement, Nidoking appeared on the ground, and a wave of water was launched. It was blocked by Onyx's iron tail, and the iron tail was pulled towards Nidoking. Nidoking roared, punched his chest with both fists, and stretched out his strong hands to catch Onyx's iron tail. He dragged it up, making Onyx stagger. It also realized that something was wrong and moved its whole body, struggling frantically. Nido facing Onyx's frantic struggle, Nidoking changed his moves. Nidoking pressed his claws on Onyx's tail, and the cold air from his claws froze Onyx's tail section by section, freezing it towards its head. With a crackle, Onyx also resisted, shattering the frozen ice, and a rocket headbutt hit it, saving its tail with its head. With Onyx's large size, this move was quite powerful. Seeing Onyx charging, Nidoking put down his tail, smiled grimly, and used all his strength to freeze the ray. With a sizzle, the cold freezing ray destroyed the energy around Onyx's body in a very short time, and penetrated into Onyx's body. Bang! Onyx was frozen half of its body, and fell to the ground with a bang. Several cracks appeared on the ground, and several ground-based energies spread out. Roar Onyx, who was hit by Nidoking's earthquake, howled loudly and lay on the ground without moving. On the other side, Mantis also solved Onyx. It originally wanted to help Nidoking, but Zhang Xingyun said it was not necessary, so he scoured the battle on the side. Swoosh, 2 Pokeballs were thrown out, the 2 Onyx were collected, and then returned to Zhang Xingyun's hands. After putting the Pokeballs away, he collected the Pokémons and teleported to another battle site to assist other trainers. Soon, the attacking Pokémons were all calmed down. Quick, quick, treat the wounded, quick. Pack up the bodies and belongings of the sacrificed trainers, and take them back. Someone, come and help. After a while of noise, the team started again. This attack took almost an hour to calm down. Damn, I really don't understand. It's just passing by. Is it that serious? Jingyungai sat next to Zhang Xingyun, with blood-red bandages wrapped around his body. After drinking a sip of water, he complained loudly. "There are so many of us, it's too noisy." Zhang Xingyun didn't know what to say. After repelling the Pokémons, he also released awakens to treat the wounded. Many trainers were injured this time. They were not ability users who could teleport like Zhang Xingyun and fight flexibly, so injuries were inevitable. Alas, it has been delayed for another hour. I hope everything will be fine next time. Zhang Xingyun murmured, looking at the time on his phone. A large group of flying elves flew from a distance. If you have flying elves, take off quickly. Quickly, the elves on the ground, get ready to quickly set up a cordon. Naturally, there were people who arranged to deal with this situation. The flying elves of the trainers also took off and fought away. After Zhang Xingyun's Pidgeot was possessed by the spirit, it also rushed over and pounced on an elite level Toucan. Pokémon such as Spearow and Toucan have very bad tempers, so it is not surprising that they attacked this time. And they probably regarded them as food. After a while, it calmed down again. Pidgeot returned to Zhang Xingyun with several scars and blood on its body. Awakens, heal Pidgeot. The warm healing energy lingered on Pidgeot, and soon the wounds on Pidgeot stopped bleeding. Have these elves lost their minds? Zhang Xingyun looked at the feathers flying around, wondering. The elves are not stupid, or is it the space transfer energy that occurred when the secret realm descended that affected it? Or did these stupid birds want to hunt with the sea of birds? Zhang Xingyun shook his head and continued to be alert. After Pidgeot rested in the Pokeball for a while, it flew into the sky and became alert. Awakens sat on Zhang Xingyun's shoulder. The other elves were not suitable to come out, but they were all in the Pokeball, ready at all times. Fortunately, there was no large-scale attack in the next period of time, which allowed them to rest. The injured elves were also healed and restored their combat power. Around 6 o'clock in the afternoon, the sun was about to set. The team passed a meadow, and the road clearing work ahead was progressing faster. The spacious environment meant that it was not easy to be attacked suddenly, or the target of attack could be discovered in advance, and deployment could be made. It was dark, and some vehicles turned on their lights. Several Pokémon also used flashes to illuminate the road and create a bright environment. It was still about 30 kilometers away from Daewon City, and there were about 2 hours left. Their movements were loud, and it was late, and the bright light would also attract Pokémon. Zhang Xingyun sat cross-legged on the roof of the car, holding a piece of bread in his mouth, and began to eat. Not only him, but also the people around him were like this. Because they were in a hurry, they had to eat like this. They couldn't stop to eat, because they had to consider ordinary people. If it were only the trainers, they could stop and have a relaxing meal. It's getting dark. Trainers, please cheer up. It's only a few hours left. Hold on. Comrades, we are almost there. There's only the last section left. Cheer up. Zhang Xingyun had just finished his bread, stood up, clapped his hands, looked around, and then took out his phone and started to look. Now he was in the grass area, and then he had to go into a forest, which was definitely more dangerous than here. The front troops had already entered the forest, and there were also sounds of fighting, but it soon subsided. Zhang Xingyun and others were looking around vigilantly, and the elves were always ready. Some elves came from the ground, some from the sky, and some from the ground. After walking for another half an hour, they encountered a group of Zubats. After fighting for a while, they successfully repelled them. There were also sacrifices among them, which was still quite dangerous in this environment. And here, Zhang Xingyun, because Zhang Xingyun had superpowers, also took care of the surroundings, but there were no casualties. This made them very grateful to Zhang Xingyun, and they also felt how good it was to have a superpower teammate. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197, The King of Heaven comes to help. Considering that many people were injured, they stopped for a while to heal them, but considering other reasons, they didn't have much time. After a short rest, they started again. Xingyun and his companions looked quite embarrassed and dusty. When they were attacked, The 3 elite trainers of their team had to take over, otherwise there would be greater casualties. Fortunately, Zhang Xingyun was not an ordinary elite trainer, but a capable person, and he had the help of a late elite giant mantis, who could deal with the enemy in the fastest time to help them. The migrating crowd was too long, so those elves thought they could fish in troubled waters, and attacked forward one after another. It might be the influence of the secret realm, or they were too hungry. The state of the several bats collected by Zhang Xingyun in the Pokeball was not right. They were hungry, and it might be the influence of the secret realm. Their eyes were very red. Zhang Xingyun walked to the side and gave the original roof to 2 trainers from other blocks to heal their wounds. They were injured in the fierce battle just now. While paying attention to the surroundings, he ate bread. I was a little hungry. I had been concentrating on the journey and was using up my mental power, which consumed a lot of my body's energy. Now I was not only hungry, but my head was also very tired. A cry came from a distance, and Zhang Xingyun felt a strong energy wave moving quickly from the source of the sound. This is the King of Heaven. Don't be nervous. Stay in your position and repeat. This is our government's support. Please don't panic. A voice came from the broadcast on the Jifang brand truck. Hearing this news, all the trainers breathed a sigh of relief. With the arrival of the King of Heaven, the road ahead would not be very dangerous. It was a King of Heaven level Pidgeot, flying from the head to the tail of the team, patrolling once, and also exuding the pressure of the King of Heaven, shocking the surroundings. The female trainer on the back of the Pidgeot was Zhang Xingyun, who was one of the King of Heaven in Changning. She came here after receiving the call for help. She had been stopping or driving away the King of Heaven level Pokémon all day, and now she had time to support them. Zhang Xingyun on the Pidgeot looked exhausted, and her combat uniform was torn in several places, which showed that she had not been relaxed all day. Zhang Xingyun on the ground recognized her at a glance, as they had met several times before. Although she might have forgotten, a black shadow also flew from a distance. It was a middle-aged man riding a king-level desert dragonfly. After greeting Zhang Xingyun, he flew to the front of the team and communicated with the team leader. After the communication, the middle-aged man took the desert dragonfly back into the Pokeball and released a Super Iron Tyrannosaurus to assist the engineering battalion. With the assistance of a king-level Super Iron Tyrannosaurus, the speed was very fast, and the whole team sped up. One was on the ground and the other was in the sky. The 2 kings came to escort them, and they did not encounter any Pokémon attacks along the way. The speed of advancement was also much faster. At 7:30 in the evening, everyone arrived in Daewon City, and the staff of Daewon City were also ready. As soon as the crowd arrived, they were arranged in an orderly manner. They had a meal first, and then arranged a place to stay. There were some other jobs, which were clerical jobs and the work of those staff members, and had little to do with Zhang Xingyun. After Zhang Xingyun had a meal at the reception place, he went to clean up the things he had harvested along the way and gained a lot. He took out the motorcycle from the space backpack and drove towards the city. After renting a trainer's villa and handling it, Zhang Xingyun soaked in the swimming pool next to the training ground equipped with the villa. With Zhang Xingyun's current physique, he is not afraid of catching a cold. The elves were also resting on the side, chatting in a whisper. Today is really too tiring, more tiring than going hunting alone. In the past, I only needed to take care of myself and the elves, but today I have to take care of a lot of things, busy. It is also the case that those who are capable will do more work. Although it is very tiring, Zhang Xingyun is still very happy in his heart because he helped the victims who were once like him today. This feeling is different from income, but a kind of spiritual satisfaction. I guess I moved from Qingshu Town to Changning City in the same way. He was still in a coma at the time. Thinking about it now, it was not any easier than it is now. Everyone, if you are hungry, eat some energy cubes first. I ordered a lot of delicious food, which will be delivered later. Eat something to fill your stomach first. You have worked hard today. Zhang Xingyun shouted to the elves. Nido nido yaoji yaoji. The elves all responded, and the electric beast took out food from the space backpack to fill the stomachs of the elves. Today, except for the 3 little ones who appeared less, Nidoking and his men had to come out every time they fought. In that chaotic environment, Zhang Xingyun did not let the 3 little ones come out to prevent other accidents. Soon, a takeaway boy arrived at the door of the villa and turned on the phone. Zhang Xingyun got up and put on a pair of trousers and went out to get it. He went in and out several times before he finished it. Enjoy your meal. Please give us a 5-star rating. Cool. Gali, who was wearing a yellow delivery uniform, also shouted beside the delivery boy. Okay. Zhang Xingyun replied with a smile. Watching the delivery boy and Gali get on a van and leave. They were probably in this business, and they used vans to deliver food, and they also had a normal mid-term Gali. The meal Zhang Xingyun ordered was not cheap, almost 200,000 yuan, so it was not wrong for the store to be careful, and it was not just Zhang Xingyun, there were other trainers. It's time to eat. It's time to eat. There are your favorite delicacies, all in each gourmet bag. Look at the pattern. Nidoking and Youngulus had the largest portions. Nidoking was an elite and loved meat, and Youngulus was a big eater. Zhang Xingyun picked up his own portion and ate with the Pokémon. Nido Hassan B during the meal. Several Pokémon also chatted. Nidoking and Mantis were the main ones chatting, and other Pokémon sometimes interrupted. Zhang Xingyun was asked again and explained. Don't rush. Eat first. More haste makes waste. Zhang Xingyun said. Mantis was asking about Nidoking's cold thorn. Mantis is currently interested in joining Zhang Xingyun's team and becoming Zhang Xingyun's Pokémon. He naturally has to make a training plan for Mantis, but training for a combo skill like cold thorn still takes time. The 3 little ones were eating silently on the side. Only Squirtle ate more politely, while young Kyrus and baby Dragonite ate a little wildly. Chapter 198 Giant Mantis joins the team. After eating, Zhang Xingyun and the elves took a rest on the lawn of the training ground. Zhang Xingyun took a day step and played with the baby dragon. He polished the tortoise shell on the baby dragon's head until it was shiny. After washing it, he massaged the baby dragon to make it more comfortable. Young Kyrus ran over and asked Zhang Xingyun to massage it. Seeing the baby dragon's comfortable look, young Kyrus said he wanted to enjoy it. Young Kyrus just gave you a bath, but you didn't wash it. Where did you go? Zhang Xingyun said, looking at young Kyrus who was calling young Ji on the side. Just now, Zhang Xingyun wanted to give young Kyrus and the baby dragon a bath, but young Kyrus ran away when he heard it. Now he ran back when he saw the baby dragon's comfortable look. Bay the baby dragon made a comfortable cry. It's getting better. Bay the baby dragon stood up, posed a few postures, and howled softly. Young Kyrus, come here and I'll massage you. Zhang Xingyun took out a liquid, mixed it on his hands, and massaged young Kyrus. Zhang Xingyun's massage technique is also very particular, and it is also good for the elves. Young Kyrus will wipe his body later. Young Kyrus said that, as long as he didn't go into the water, everything else was fine. Stottle was already sleeping soundly in the swimming pool after the water was changed, with his belly turned over. After massaging young Kyrus and wiping him, Zhang Xingyun got up and walked towards the giant mantis sitting on a stone. In front of the giant mantis, he placed a cup of the elf's favorite drink, and Zhang Xingyun also sat next to it, holding a bottle of drink in his hand and started drinking. The giant mantis was not polite and took it up and drank the drink through a straw. Mantis, how is it? Did my performance today meet your expectations? Hassan, would you like to become my partner? Let's grow together and see the scenery we have never seen before. Hassan, this is a small problem. I can solve it. Are you willing? Now Nidoking is also an elite. According to the regulations, you have to be sent back. After spending so much time together, you know me, and I know you. Now I sincerely invite you to join us. Hassan Mantis put down the drink, stood in front of Zhang Xingyun, and stretched out a claw. Haha, welcome to join us. We will definitely be stronger. Zhang Xingyun laughed and stretched out his arm to face Mantis. The problem mentioned by Mantis is not a big problem. With Zhang Xingyun's current energy, it is also possible to exchange Mantis for it. After all, there are examples. As long as the conditions are met, there is no problem. Zhang Xingyun's conditions can even be obtained by quasi-gods, so Mantis is naturally not a problem. It only costs some merit points or Pokémon coins. He has already consulted the talent department of the Pokémon Center, and the staff said there is no problem. Hassan HMM. Zhang Xingyun started chatting with Mantis. From now on, one person and one Pokémon is the relationship between trainer and Pokémon. Mantis was very satisfied with Zhang Xingyun. On weekdays, he was generous in training and resource supply. So when faced with Zhang Xingyun's invitation, he naturally agreed. Trainers choose Pokémon with good qualifications, and Pokémon will also choose excellent trainers. Obviously, Zhang Xingyun is the excellent trainer. Then how did you become a guardian Pokémon? Hassan Mantis also explained its origin. It hatched from a Pokémon egg, and after leaving the larval stage, it trained with other Pokémon. Because of its good qualifications and the high investment of the trainers in it, its strength naturally increased. Then it became a combat Pokémon for a period of time. It will be handed over to a trainer of the same level to fight, and the guardian Pokémon will only guard. After that, it made some contributions, got a metal coating, and evolved into a claw. After that, it became a guardian Pokémon. I see. Don't worry, I have prepared your training plan and resources for you. Let's get used to fighting in the next few days. Hassan Nidoking also came over, and was very happy to know that Claw joined. Claw gave it some guidance when it was still a normal level, and now that it has become a partner, it will naturally be happy. After all, with the addition of a powerful partner, its own trainer has also gained a fighting force. Claw was already very strong, and now that it has become a partner, I believe that under Zhang Xingyun's training, it will definitely be stronger. Okay, I'm more confident now. Zhang Xingyun looked at Nidoking and Claw who were chatting, as if he thought of something, and hatred flashed in his eyes. Hey boo Electabuzz also rushed over after hearing the sound and patted Claw on the shoulder. Hua Yaoji. The elves all came over, even the Stottle sleeping in the swimming pool woke up, and after hearing what everyone said, he also came over. Vegeta and the others were welcoming the joining of Mantis. They had also been protected and instructed by Mantis, and they were very welcome to Mantis joining. Now they are partners, and the elves are very close to each other. In the past, Mantis was a guardian elf, and although they would be closer, they would not be as close as now. After a while of excitement, it was late at night, so they went back to rest indoors. The villa rented by Zhang Xingyun naturally has a place for elves to sleep. After all, it is a business specializing in trainers, and it is still clear about the needs of trainers. Zhang Xingyun practiced until more than 3 o'clock tonight, and then fell asleep on the bed. Occasionally, he did not practice and fell asleep. Although he would not feel sleepy after practicing, Zhang Xingyun would sometimes fall asleep. I don't know if it is a psychological effect, but every time he fell asleep, Zhang Xingyun would feel very comfortable. Soon, it was the early morning of the next day. At 6 o'clock, Zhang Xingyun also opened his eyes and got up to wash up. After 3 hours of deep sleep, he felt very good. Nido Hassan. The elves heard the noise and woke up. After a little cleaning, they started a simple training on the training ground. The daily homework has become a habit. After Zhang Xingyun washed up, he didn't cook, but placed an order directly on his mobile phone. Zhang Xingyun looked through his mobile phone to see if there was any new information. Except for the information about the escort reward, there was no other information. The class group was quite lively, and several people added him. Zhang Xingyun clicked in, replied a few words, and then exited. The migration of Dongjiang County has been completed, and there should be no conscription, so Zhang Xingyun plans to go through the procedures for the giant mantis today, and then go to the descending area alone to try his luck. See if he can harvest some precious treasures. Chapter 199 Procedures. At 9 o'clock in the morning, Zhang Xingyun drove to the Pokémon Center in Daewon City. The Pokémon Center in Daewon City is similar to the one in Changling City, except that the layout is a little different. Looking at the layout map on the first floor, Zhang Xingyun walked towards the office of the talent department. As soon as he walked in, there was a very gentle man wearing glasses sitting in the office. The card on the table said Director Zheng of the talent department, who was looking at a document. Hello, Director Zheng. Oh, hello. Seeing Zhang Xingyun standing in front of him, Deputy Director Zheng responded. What's the matter? Let's go downstairs and talk. Okay. Most of the staff at the Pokémon Center have a good attitude. After all, the target of their service is trainers, and the service attitude of the talent department is even better. Those who can come here to do business are considered talents, so shouldn't their attitude be better? It's like this, Director Zhang. I applied for a guardian elf a few months ago. Now my own elf has also reached the elite level. I admire this guardian elf very much. I want to recruit it and come here for this purpose. These are my certificates. Please take a look. He took out a stack of information that had been prepared long ago from the storage space and placed it in front of Director Zhang. Director Zhang flipped through it and then turned on the computer and entered Zhang Xingyun's information. He found that there was no problem. Naturally, he could also find that this guardian elf was the work of Ling Feng. Although they were in different cities, he still knew the celebrities in the nearby cities. Seeing this, he couldn't help but pay more attention. It is not necessary to handle business in one city, and it can also be handled across cities. It is all connected to the internet. The same is true for Zhang Xingyun's handling of the giant mantis this time. Ability users, champions of the Changning Newcomer Cup, members of the Cultivator Association, etc. all shocked Director Zhang. He looked at his age and found that he was only a few days away from turning 18. This person must be a genius. Hello, Mr. Zhang, this can be processed. The information you provided is also very complete, but there is a problem here. We need to verify whether the guardian elf is willing to follow you. Please take out the guardian elf first and give it to us. We will know the result soon. After reading Zhang Xingyun's information, Director Zhang said, some procedures still need to be followed, even if Zhang Xingyun is very good. After listening, Zhang Xingyun took out the giant mantis's elf ball and handed it to Director Zhang. Director Zhang made a phone call and soon a staff member came. It should be for the so-called test. The test should be that there is a person who can ask the guardian elf to determine whether it is forced or is it a sincere follower. This point is still taken into consideration. Taking care of the feelings of the guardian elf is also to prevent tragedies from happening. After the giant mantis was taken away, Zhang Xingyun was invited to the sofa area 40, and Director Zhang accompanied him. During this period, several people came to handle things, such as talent subsidies. The next room seems to be the office of the deputy director in the talent department. It is noisier than here, and there must be a lot of people. Zhang Xingyun drank hot tea and waited patiently. There was no problem with the giant mantis, but I didn't know how much it would cost. It was not cheap for the government to cultivate an elite elf, and the resources invested were also a large amount of money, which needed to be repaid by the applicant. But this was all earned. With an elf, why would you worry about not making money? And it was an excellent giant mantis, so it was earned anyway. Zhang Xingyun was thinking about how to solve some problems with the giant mantis. For example, he found that the metal coating used for the giant mantis had some flaws. Of course, this was from Zhang Xingyun's perspective. This is definitely not high-end, probably medium quality stuff, and some places are not very dense, so you can start from this aspect and improve it. Hahaha, your giant mantis has been verified. If not, then come and sign it. Director Zhang said. Okay. Zhang Xingyun stood up, walked to the stage, sat down and waited. Sign here first, and then check your fingerprints and irises. No problem. Soon, it was done, and Zhang Xingyun said goodbye and left. The payment was made on the official website of the direct lineage, not at the elf center. 8 million elf coins and 10,000 merit points. It was not expensive, probably because there was a discount for him. The elite level elves that Zhang Xingyun sold still needed to be tamed, and there was a risk of failure in taming. Some could only be sold as elf materials. The giant mantis was different. First of all, it was a guardian elf, so there must be no problem with its personality, and its qualifications were not low, so the price was acceptable. After Zhang Xingyun bought some things in the store, he rushed to the wild. The elves near the city were all novice elves, and Zhang Xingyun was not interested in hunting them. With Zhang Xingyun's current strength, it was no problem to deal with the elites, and he could go deeper. When encountering a quasi-king elf, Zhang Xingyun was also confident that he could escape. His supernatural power had improved greatly, and now the teleportation could move up to more than 30 meters. Unlike when he was attacked by the blood bat, he could only move about 10 meters, and the pause time was also shortened a lot, so he was still sure in terms of safety. When they came to a dense forest, the ground was uneven, so they stopped and put the motorcycle back into the storage space. With Huoyidi sitting on his shoulder and the 3 little ones at his feet, they started walking. Nidoking and the others were still in the Pokeball and had not come out. If they had come out, young Julius and the others would not have to fight. Young Julius seemed very happy. This was his chance to play. He could not participate in the escort mission of the scale yesterday. He was so suffocated staying in the Pokeball. After Baby Dragon came out, he looked around and made a fighting posture. Let's go. Today is your home ground. You 3 will have a fight, Zhang Xingyun said, asking the 3 little ones to get ready. By the way, young Julius, feel it by the way, and see if there is any ore underground. Young Julius last time, young Julius found star steel, or in the Cloud Star Forest. He ate it for a while, and saved a lot of money. This place is also a new place, so maybe there is some. Well, this kind of fruit is quite sweet. Zhang Xingyun picked a few wild fruits and ate them. His supernatural power can also sense whether it is poisonous or not, so it is impossible to eat poisonous fruits. Wait a minute, something is going on. Yaoji. Zhang Xingyun used his supernatural power to explore and found a rice spoon snake gnawing on a mongoose. The scene was very bloody. This rice spoon snake was lucky to catch a mongoose, so it had a meal for today. But it was unlucky that it happened to run into Zhang Xingyun. Here comes the work. Chapter 200 Baby Dragon vs. Rice Spoon Snake. When the Pidgeots encounter the Spearows, they will clash. This is common sense in the elf world. The same is true for the spoon snakes and the mongoose slash. When the 2 sides meet, it is either you or I. The scene in front of me is that the spoon snake has won and the mongoose slash on the losing side has become food. The spoon snake on the winning side is feasting on it. Seeing its body swaying slightly, it can also be seen that this spoon snake is paying attention to its surroundings while eating. Ordinary mid-stage spoon snake, who will go up? Zhang Xingyun asked the 3 little ones in telepathy. The 3 little ones asked for a fight, and they all wanted to go up. They all asked Zhang Xingyun to fight through telepathy. For a moment, Zhang Xingyun didn't know who to send up. There were only 3 of the 3 little ones, and there was only 1 spoon snake. It was a bit difficult to tell. The spoon snake had a bad premonition while eating, and always felt that something bad was going to happen, but it looked around and didn't find the enemy. Baby Dragon greeted Zhang Xingyun and rushed out directly. Baby Dragon's desire to fight is very high. Whenever there is a battle that allows it to go, it will definitely rush to the front. Seeing Baby Dragon rushing up, Zhang Xingyun could only let young Kirus and Kame Squirtle scout the formation and followed. Baby Dragon jumped out of the bushes with a few leaves on its body, bared its teeth at the spoon snake, and took a fighting posture. Baby Dragon, do you want to go it alone or need command? Go it alone. It's just a normal middle stage. Wait for me for a moment. It's easy to catch. It's done. As he said that, he also made a gesture of control with his claws. Well, then you be careful. You don't have to worry about the things around you. Zhang Xingyun used his breath to hide himself and young Kirus and watched Baby Dragon in a hidden corner. After the spoon snake confronted the Baby Dragon that suddenly appeared for a while, it did not find other Pokémons. It sensed the energy fluctuations on Baby Dragon. It was only a normal early stage, and it was like this? Question mark? Then wouldn't the spoon snake want a snack? Question mark? The Baby Dragon was filled with a pure dragon type aura. Wow, it was fascinated. If it swallowed it, its strength would definitely be improved. Although the spoon snake didn't know the Baby Dragon in front of it, it could feel that it was a dragon type Pokémon, and it was an ordinary early dragon type Pokémon. After a while of confrontation, no other Pokémon came. Wouldn't it be? Thinking of this, a few drops of saliva flowed from the mouth of the spoon snake. Even though its stomach was full, it didn't matter. Thanks to the gift of nature, it has it under control now. The spoon snake swallowed its tongue and looked at the Baby Dragon greedily. Both thought they could control each other, and with a bang, the battle started. The spoon snake used extremely snake-skinned movement to avoid the attack of the baby dragon and rushed towards the baby dragon. It can be seen that the spoon snake is a veteran. It knows how to fight and use its own conditions to hunt. The purpose of the slither snake can also be guessed, which is to get close to the baby dragon and tie it up with its snake body. With this extreme tie, a big tree can be destroyed, let alone this tiny thing in front of it. The baby dragon of about 1 meter is still considered small in the eyes of the slither snake. I know that the baby dragon in the game is 0.6 meters. I changed it. Hiss, the slither snake made a grimace, trying to scare the baby dragon. This trick is very effective in normal hunting. This intimidation has no effect on the baby dragon. It may be useful for other Pokémon, but it is useless for it. Many attacks were avoided by the slither snake. It also made a grimace to itself, which made the baby dragon's eyes gradually red. The irritable dragon is online, with power +1. The hit rate is the focus of the baby dragon's training. The baby dragon also trains seriously on weekdays. When it encounters the experienced slither snake, it really can't attack it at once. This makes it angry. Its trainer and partners are watching from the side. Where can it put its dragon face? Question mark? Baby dragon accumulated energy and rushed towards the rice spoon snake, but instead of advancing, it retreated. In the usual training, it remembered that Zhang Xingyun said that the closer the distance, the lower the probability of dodging, so it came to fight. His rice spoon snake looked at baby dragon rushing towards it aggressively and was a little confused. This script seemed wrong. Shouldn't it attack itself and stop itself from getting close? Has this guy always been so brave? Forget it. It doesn't matter. This is better. Do it. Baby dragon, with some red light in his eyes, confronted rice spoon snake, and crackling sounds of attacks rang out, which was the collision of the poisonous tail and dragon claws. If the long-range attack can't reach it, then come with the face-to-face output. Dragon's Fury. Boom. It was the movement caused by the encounter between Dragon's Fury and the Stinky Mud Bomb. The airwave caused by the two skills bounced baby dragon away, and rice spoon snake slowed down a little, then reacted and killed baby dragon again. Baby dragon's attack level is just the level of an ordinary mid-term dragon. The spoon snake is still confident of defeating it, but it just needs time. The battle between the two has already caused a stir. It has to deal with baby dragon in the shortest possible time and finally find a safe place to digest it. As for the remains of the mongoose, compared with the blood and flesh of baby dragon, this is not important. Baby dragon was tied up by the spoon snake that rushed over to kill it. The snake body slowly shrank, trying to strangle baby dragon. Baby dragon's skull was very hard, and the spoon snake couldn't tie it up for a while. Feeling the hardness of baby dragon, the spoon snake tied it up even harder. The tied baby dragon sprayed sparks, scalding the spoon snake, and the snake's tail was retracted. Baby dragon did not miss a chance and rushed over, using claws, teeth, head hammer, and everything he could use to fight with the spoon snake in close combat. For some reason, among all the elves of Zhang Xingyun, they all like close combat, and in close combat, the most active one is the electric beast. For a while, the rice spoon snake was beaten back by the baby dragon, and retreated a few steps. There were wisps of white smoke on the snake body, emitting a meaty aroma. Another dragon's anger hit the rice spoon snake. After the baby dragon approached the rice spoon snake, it was bitten several times on its body, which made it crawl on the ground, and it was in unbearable pain. It was hit and injured again. The rice spoon snake's temper also came up, and the baby dragon's behavior also aroused its ferocity. The two elves fought at close range again. They took out their own killer moves, trying to kill each other. Seeing that the baby dragon and the rice spoon snake were fighting very fiercely, Zhang Xingyun, who was standing aside, did not lend a hand, but just watched quietly. His eyes were shining, ready to take action at any time, to protect the safety of the baby dragon. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.